Welcome back to the neighborhood. We are doing another draft, our Fantasy Critic draft. So this is the 2025 Fantasy Critic draft. We are going to be talking through the 2024 season, give everybody a chance to kind of reflect back on how that went for them and what went wrong for most of them. And then we're going to come in and do the 2025 draft and pick up some games, have some fun. Joining me today, I'm Dylan. My co-host Andrew is here.
I am
We
here.
are your friendly neighborhood. We are your friendly neighborhood gamers. We have. I'm just gonna go down the order on my Discord. So we've got Jay of Super Bracket Bros fame here with us. How you doing, Jay?
Oh, just so good. Ready for redemption for like the 20th year in a row, I think. So, I'm sure it's going to go better this time.
I admire you still having hope at this point.
Yeah.
uh, I got to try, man. For the brand or
Yep.
something. I don't know.
We are also joined by Eric from the Wait For It podcast, one of the hosts. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing good. Very happy with my two performances so far in the critic draft. Just came up short, but I'm very excited for 2025. We said last year was a weak year in gaming. What a lie that proved to be. And this year, it looks like it's going to be one of the strongest yet. So very exciting to see how it turns out.
Yes, for sure. We are also joined by the other host of the Wait For It podcast, Phil. How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing well. I'm here for the vibes, man. That was clearly going to be my goal. About, I would say, 6 months in, I knew I didn't have a shot at this thing, and just had a good time. But learned a lot having it been my first year, and at least there are games that I know of that are coming out supposedly in 2025. I will say I did win my fantasy football draft in 2024, so at least I did win something.
Did anybody ask?
fantasy
Did somebody
gaming.
ask about that?
I'm just gonna.
For context, I also came second in that as well. So it's been a year of seconds for me.
At least you're
Always
consistent.
the bridesmaid, never the bride, huh, Eric? So,
100%.
yeah, I like how by everyone's answers to how you doing tonight, you can kind of tell who did well in the draft last year and who didn't. Um, and then finally, we are being joined by Eric's brother, member of the Wait For It street team and MVP of Marvel Rivals, Stefan. How you doing, Stefan?
Hello. I'm doing pretty good. Did okay last year. Doing okay right now. Hoping for an improvement. We're starting off in the middle. We need to get a little bit better.
Yep, for sure. All right. So, if you are unfamiliar with what Fantasy Critic is, essentially it is like the video game version of fantasy football. So, we are all playing the role of video game publishers. We are going to draft some games tonight where uh, we are hoping that they are going to come out and get good critic review scores. The better that they do critically, the more points that we can earn overall. So as long as they get above a 70, we are gaining points. If they get below a 70, we are losing points.
On Open Critic specifically.
Yes, on Open Critic. If a game gets above a 90, it gets bonus points. So it normally is 1 point per, like a 70 would be a 0, a 71 would be 1 point, etc. Once it gets to 90, you start getting 2 points per point above 90. So you can, if a game gets above 90, you can really start racking up your score there. We also have some counter picks that we get to use, which lock a game in place. Normally, those are used because you either think that a game is not going to come out, like Hollow Knight Silksong, or because you think that the game is going to be bad, like Tales from the Shire, whatever that game is. So we have 3 of those. I think we had 2 last year.
Yeah.
But okay. those work the opposite way. So if your counter pick, if the game is bad, you get points for every critical point score below 70 it gets. And if it gets a positive critic score above 70, then you lose points, which many of us did this past season. So we're going to pick up about half our roster tonight, and then we're going to be able to do weekly bids on future games. So we're not bidding every single week necessarily. There will probably be some bids this week, and then there will be some bids after usually like the big announcement shows and stuff. So I think Microsoft usually has one in January, all of them around E3, and just kind of throughout the year, there will usually be some bids that we kind of pick up there. So we'll run through some of the rules that have changed right before we start the draft. But before we do that, I want to just kind of look back at this past season. So take a look at what went well, what didn't go so well, some surprises, upsets, and a little insight into maybe what your strategy is moving forward. And so the first person we're going to talk to is the one who came in 6th place. It's going to be Phil and his publisher, definitely not Peter Molyneux. Came in with 51 points. So, Phil, tell us a little bit about how last season went. Tell us kind of good, the bad, the ugly, how you're going to make this a winning season.
Lots of ugly for sure. Of course, I did end up having one spot open as well, and one thing I definitely learned is just not being like super conservative with my bid money, and that's something I definitely did, and I'll certainly like learn and do differently going into 2025. And then of course with Avowed not dropping, the Tales of the Shire game it was towards that latter half of the year where I'm just trying to get points and recover from my counter picks, and I'm counter picking like games that I don't really know anything. Like I didn't know what Banisher's Ghost of Eden was. I didn't know like a lot of these games that were coming out. Dragon Age the Veilguard getting me points ended up being a surprise because that could have really gone south more so than things already kind of went poorly for me. But I felt good like early on in the year, like Hellblade 2, Tekken 8, Unicorn Overlord. Like there were some really solid games in there, but then just between my counter picks tanked me. So that was something I'll certainly keep a better eye on in terms of, like I said, utilizing those funds better. But yeah, I already feel better because there are a solid list of games out that are coming out in 2025 that I am familiar with. So I already feel better just based off of that. But those counter picks like really, really screwed me. So I am hoping for, I'm hoping definitely not a repeat performance on that end. So but it was rough, but I learned a lot, so I feel good.
Yep. Yeah, and I think counter picks were across the board pretty painful for most people. I think there was only maybe like 1 or 2 counter picks that actually got positive points. I think everything else was either just 0 or negative points. So, but yeah, well, cool. So picking up some being a little bit more willing to spend that money on these bids, picking up some more games. I think that'll help.
So Indiana Jones looks dumb. I don't want to play a first person Indiana Jones game. I don't see how that game is good.
It apparently
surprised
is.
me.
I haven't played it, So all right, well, next we're going to kick it over to Jay and Millennium Falcon Punch. Jay did have the highest scoring game of the year. I think. No, I'm wrong. I lied. It's Astro. Never mind.
That's right. Yes. Say that again.
The highest scoring.
Hey, not
the
your
highest
turn.
scoring DLC.
Thank
We'll
you.
throw that out there. So, Jay, how did things go?
Yeah, no, not great. Since you're talking to me so early in the episode, obviously. So we're not feeling super great. Well, because the last 3 years I got second. So obviously didn't figure anything out from that, and then proceeded to get 5th this year. So I really have no idea what's going on. I'm only gotten worse, and I have just proceeded to do more research. This is you say rules wise, this is a lot like fantasy football. I think I'm really getting the spirit of that this year or last year. I did, where
Yeah.
it's just like I really felt like I was doing the work and it didn't pay dividends.
Mhm.
So, I think where I remember, this is part where I dissect it. I go back and I think like, okay, what was I saying? And now I need to do the opposite. So last year I was saying like a lot of phrases like this game's for sure going to come out, so that's why I'm going to pick it over a game that might come out. And then I think I only dropped like a game or two last year. I didn't use all my drops, which when we were discussing the rules, we were talking about like adding more drops. I was like that I don't need them. Obviously, I do. I need to drop the bad games before I can score them. So I don't know. This is a pretty. I'm blindfolded throwing darts at a dartboard here. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe take some more risks this year. But yeah. But yeah, that's about it for me.
All right. And now, how do you feel like having to auto draft last year hurt you? Yeah, you mentioned second place past few years. The 1 year that you try to trust the AI to take your job and auto draft for you, you come in fifth. Do you feel like the AI is coming for your job this year, or you feel like it's pretty safe?
Well, that does make me feel better because I did forget that for a hot second. I did unfortunately have to auto draft last year, but which I mean, it did lead to a couple games being on my list that like I had to look up again once I saw that they were on my roster, like Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden, and
Yeah.
Eden Chronicle 100 Heroes. But I mean, it also got me, Shadow of the Erdtree. I set my list. I got to live with it. Still
Yeah.
upset about Princess Peach Showtime. Where'd Nintendo go? Where'd you go?
Yeah.
You're supposed to come out with good games.
It was my daughter's game of the year, for what it's worth.
Did, I didn't see her.
She didn't write a
her
review for
on
it,
Open
so I'll have to get on her about
We
that.
did have a submission to the Wait For It Awards, it was their game of the year as well. So
So
I don't know if that makes it feel any better.
Did you
does
submit
not
that
make
to
me feel
Open Critic,
any
Phil?
better. Yeah.
I'll ask her too this year. So let me know what game you think that will be, and I'll reach out to her.
The one thing that retrospectively I am upset about is the auto counter pick. It made me counter pick Dragon Age the Veilguard, which who knows if that's what I would have picked. It just automatically picked the game that most other people had counter picked. I don't know if that would have been my pick or not. But also I don't think this game got a 79. I think there was collusion happening behind the scenes, so that makes me a little upset. But anyways, let's freaking go.
Yep. All right. Well, Jay is coming in fired up, it seems like. So, it brings us over to Andrew. Andrew took the biggest negative point hit from one of his counter picks. That's his claim to fame this season. Tell us about your season, Andrew. Give us a breakdown.
Well, first of all, I want to say that I have the most victories under my belt since we've started doing this, so let's not forget that. This
Resting
year
on your laurels. Okay.
Yeah, this year Jay mentioned how he was like doing the research and it wasn't paying off. I felt the most out of touch this year with like the games that were coming out, but also when we did our like mid-year check-in, I felt really confident. I felt like I was poised to do pretty well. And then my counter pick was with UFO 50 was just a really bad call. I kind of picked it assuming that it would just fly under the radar and would get like 2 or 3 reviews. I didn't think it was going to be a big success in the industry. But it was, and it got me negative 21 points. But then just the games that I had lined up, like Assassin's Creed got pushed, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 got pushed. And there were a couple others that I went in and kind of did what Jay should have done and dropped and picked up some others. But at that point, I was just doing my best to not get last. Like I picked up, I think that's when I picked up Dragon Ball Z and I picked up Wild Bastards, which got me like 3 points. Picked up Rise of the Golden Idol, like just scrambling to try to get some points on the board, and just coming up just shy of the third place spot.
Yeah. So you did have some strong ones on there, but yeah, it did seem like your list was definitely hurt by the delays that we saw pretty much throughout all of last year. So
I'm pretty sure you can go back to the like mid-year check-in we did, and Stefan, I think, was one person who said it, and I agreed, was like, one thing about the rest of Andrew's list is I feel like those games are at least going to come out and get positive points, and then 2 of them didn't. So
Yep. So you hate to see it.
I specifically do hate to see it. Yes.
Yeah. So I appreciate you taking the spot that I normally hold down, which is the bottom half of the standings for our podcast. So I appreciate that. We are going to kick it over now to Stefan. And so, Stefan, tell us a little bit about your season. Tell us what was going on.
Yeah, top half when in the podium. That's what matters. I'm on the podium. I'll take it. Last year, it was a weird year because I was kind of just in the middle the whole year. I didn't pick a negative game the whole year. Only one game didn't get me a point, which was Replaced, that didn't come out. My counter pick, I got -5 for Star Wars Outlaws, but I also had like no game over 90. I'm the only person who didn't have a game over 90. My highest was an 85. And then I only had one that was after that below a 74. So I was like in the middle of the pack the whole year. It never felt like I was gaining any ground. And a big thing that I learned is, especially last year, I had a list of games that I was like really excited for, but they got, I remember I picked last, they got taken pretty quickly. And I kind of went with safer picks. This year, I'm going to take more risks. And I'm also making it a point that I'm going to pick games that I actually want to play. And instead of like, because there's like, I picked Stalker 2 and Frostpunk 2. Like those aren't games that like I would check out, but I wasn't like super interested in them. So, but I'm going to trust my gut and my taste in games. I'm going to go, these are the games I really, really want to play. And I'm going to pick them even if they feel like they're a bit of a reach. I'm going to go for things that I'm going to be playing this year.
Nice. Yeah, and I do agree with you. I think your list was really, like, it put up a very solid performance. There was not necessarily like the huge superstar swings, but it was not, you were not getting a ton of negative points there. Like, of the initial games that like we could counter pick from, I think you had one of the better counter picks there with Star Wars Outlaws, because it really didn't lose you that many points. You were limited in what you could have, and the only better options were South Park or Avowed. And so I think your list was a very, very solid list for sure.
What pick did you have, Stefan?
What
pick did you have?
The last one
last year. It was the last one.
I was sixth pick, which threw.
It was a good draft.
Yeah, it threw everything. I made the best of it, but yeah, it threw everything off because my like couple of them that I did want at the beginning were all like immediately taken, which was expected.
Now, Stefan, what game in particular is making you switch up your strategy to go with your gut? I know there's one I've heard you mention a couple times that you didn't pick up.
Yes, Balatro. I played the demo of Balatro for like 20 hours before it came out. I was having a blast with it. But all I could think, because I love roguelike games, like roguelikes is like one of my favorite genres. But all I could think about is, who's going to review this card game? This literally, I was like, it'll get like the Steam reviews. It will have a couple hundred or maybe even 1,000. But Open Critic, I was like, it's not going to get there. Lo and behold, offered up for Game of the Year had like a 91 or a 92, and it was like immediately I was like, I know how good this game is. I should have just picked it, and even if I get 0 points, so be it. It's not going to be negative points, but like the games that I know are good, I'm going to just say, especially if I've been able to play the demo and I can confirm it, I'm just going to go with it and say I'm putting it on my board.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, I am interested to see what this season's Balatro is, because it's out there. It's being developed right now, you know, like it is going to come out and get 90 something points. So yeah. Let's see. Now we will kick it over to second place. Eric with Extract Tandem Reciprocal picked the highest scoring game of the year. So Eric,
And
tell us a little bit
predicted
about
that
and
it would get
predicted it.
Game of the
Predicted that it
Year.
would win Game of the Year. We have to
I
give him
literally
credit
dropped
for
the
that.
mic when I picked it up. I said, "You guys messed up."
Yeah. So besides Astrobot, or I mean, you could talk about Astrobot too, but how did your season go, Eric?
Yeah, so this season, I was really, really proud of finishing 2023 in third place. It was a much higher scoring season in 2023, but I was still really proud of my really solid second place victory. Like, it really wasn't close. I was really excited to kind of hold that spot down for a while, and I was worried at first. Dragon's Dogma 87 was solid, but I really thought I was getting a 90 there in the first round. Silk Song was always the risk. It was always the risk from draft night, and it ended up being one of the things that did me in this year. Star Wars Outlaws, I get it, bad pick. I'm just glad it was positive. Warhammer and Helldivers are two games I really thought I'd get in the high 80s. So when it came to South Park Snow Day, I can admit this was one part of my biggest mistakes. I probably made 3 mistakes. This was the first one, was drafting it, and then it being counterpicked didn't go my way. The second mistake was Silk Song, although I don't regret it, because I did say this in the pre-show. I was sure this thing was going to shadow drop on December 31st, and I was going to win the league. Again, Happy New Year to me. Didn't happen. The third mistake that I made, and probably the most minor, but I did panic after Snow Day released in March, and I picked up a couple of games. 9 Souls worked in my favor. Could not believe that got me an 85. It was not on my radar, but it turned out to be a really great game last year. 2 games that were very average that I wish I wouldn't have panic picked are Sandland and Tales of Kinzara. I picked those for an April drop to really just get some more points on the board. I followed that up with World of Goo 2, Steam World Heist 2, which got me positive points. And then I filled the last spot with Astrobot, which I was happy about, but I knew I was going to need another spot or 2 to compete if Silk Song didn't release. And I just didn't give myself that much grace. The only saving grace, which I don't think Jay focused on this, was the Spirit of the Samurai, which, God, what a great counter pick. I have some tales of the tape that I can go over before we jump into the 2025 season. One of them is that this is the lowest scoring game that was picked up by anybody with a 52. So counter picking that really gave me some hope where I thought there was none, and it really padded the stats at the end. So all that to say, really good season overall. But definitely some mistakes that I feel like I need to grow out of in year 3.
That Samurai game came out, and it hit like right as I had, well, a little bit after I had kind of mentally checked out of the league for this year, because I was just like over it. But I saw those like updates come through the channel in the Discord, and I was just like, oh. It makes me feel a little better that at least I'm sharing misery with somebody else in here, because that's brutal.
That game came out right around in November, so at that point I had to pick a game with a release date. I wanted to pick Slitterhead, which, Dylan, was your only negative scoring game at -4.
Yeah.
I didn't have the confidence to pull the trigger. I almost did it on the Rise of the Golden Idol. Glad I didn't do that. And then the last game, ultimately, because Phil wasn't going to pick up a final game, so I couldn't keep waiting for him to make a mistake, was the Spirit of the Samurai. And when I looked at the gameplay, I mean, I was like, okay, maybe this is going to be like, and I don't know if it's an indie game, but like that Indie Darling. I don't know if it's going to be that Diamond in the Rough. So I was like, I'm taking a chance here. But from what I saw, I was like, I'm not going to play that. Like, that doesn't look very interesting. Jay, on the other hand, thought it was worth the pickup. So Jay, any thoughts there? Any discussions
Yeah,
for
Jay.
Spirit of the Samurai here?
No. I talked about doing research, and I also, similarly to Andrew, I think by the time I actually picked this game up, was pretty close to having given up. And I looked at this and I was like, there's, it was the high on the Fantasy Critic hype factor or whatever. I saw it was high there, and I looked it up, and I was like, I watched like 30 seconds of gameplay, and I was like, sure, why not? But had I looked like another 30 seconds and looked up the like publisher, like it's like this this terrible mobile game publisher, and like digital what is it, Digital Mind, and like
Mhm.
they have one game and the rest of their stuff is just it's just like 3D modeling, and it's just like they've never worked on a game before in their life. Like so yeah, no, mistakes were made, certainly.
Mistakes were made. Dylan, I do want to ask before you go, because again, I
Mhm.
put together some quick tales of the tape that I think you guys will find entertaining.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of sports stuff today.
Yes,
For
go
the
for it.
league. I can go back as far as 2022. Is that when the league started?
Yes.
Okay.
With us, yeah, with
Or
this
with
show.
this one, yeah.
With this, okay, all right.
We have
cool,
been
cool.
picking we have been picking Silk Song since before we
Yeah.
have history of this league. So
Okay. All right. Well, I'll use the historical data here. We'll talk about the Spirit of the Samurai here momentarily again for league history purposes.
oh, you,
That was it. That was it. I figured I'd let you.
that was your tail for the tape.
I,
Okay.
no, I have more tales of the tape, but I figured I'd let the champion
Okay.
highlight, your season before I
Okay.
recap it as a whole.
Yeah, so I was thoroughly surprised by my performance this season. Normally, I don't do this well. Normally, I am in the bottom half, hoping for a third place finish just to like land on the podium.
You're welcome.
And I thought early on that was definitely where I was headed, because I counterpicked Animal Well, because I was like, oh, this is gonna be like, it's a funny haha donkey, game, but it's not gonna like do super well critically. And then it came out and it got an 89, and I lost 19 points right off the bat. So basically negating. I did have a couple of games that came out earlier in the year, like Final Fantasy, that did very well, got above a 90, and so basically Animal Well just negated all of those points, because it got me negative 19 points. But overall, I was happy with how I was, shout out to Microsoft and Indiana Jones. I was picking that up mostly as a Microsoft fanboy, and it got me an 87, 17 points.
Shout out to Machine Games, who
Machine Games
have a pretty good
and
track
Call of
record.
Duty. Call of Duty campaign came in clutch too. That was nice. But yeah, I picked up a lot of solid performers. A lot in the 80s, a lot in the 90s. The Slitterhead, I was really hoping we were going to be riding that. Like when I picked it up, the Silent Hill 2 remake hadn't come out. I was hoping the Silent Hill 2 remake was going to be kind of like glitchy and bad, and people were going to be like going for because Slitterhead I think was made or headed by the guy who originally did Silent Hill. So I was really hoping that like maybe the remake was going to be bad, and so people were going to be itching for that kind of a game and would go there and it'd be like, oh, this is great. That did not turn out to be the case. And my sleeper hit is UFO 50. I was very pleasantly surprised with that. I had seen kind of like some stuff on various games media outlets that were kind of like talking a little bit about it, but it was flying very under the radar, and I picked it up just as kind of like a, hopefully this will get me positive points, and not lose me anything, and it ended up getting a 91. So that was fantastic.
For you.
My only disappointment is that only PC Gamer reviewed Factorio Space Age, because they gave it a 94, and no one else reviewed it, so it didn't end up scoring me any points. But I had a lot of expansions too. I think that helped. Like picking up a lot of solid expansions, Destiny 2, World of Warcraft, Factorio, which didn't get scored, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with how well my season went. I don't think I can replicate it. Fingers crossed that I can, but I think this was kind of the unexpected, everything fell into place season. I don't know that this will happen again. So, but now we will kick it over to Eric and his Tales of the Tape.
All right. So I think this will be really fun. As you guys remember, not going to stop reminding us, highest scoring game of the year was Astrobot with a 95. The lowest scoring game, no surprise, The Spirit of the Samurai. However, this is also now the lowest scoring game in league history as far as the records show, beating out last year Redfall and Modern Warfare 3. So congratulations.
Redfall.
Beating Redfall.
R.I.P.
Congratulations, Jay. The biggest counter pick, or the best counter pick, you could say, was The Spirit of the Samurai. It got me 14 points. The worst counter pick, as we highlighted, was Andrew with UFO, getting negative 21.
Do I get a bonus star for that?
Maybe. Again, I really think this will make it fun if we start putting advantages on them. Most 90s or higher. So Stefan was the only team without any. No other team except for Dylan got more than one. Dylan had 4, which I think really is the tale of the tape that explains, despite having a game not get scored, and despite a terrible counter pick in negative 19 in Animal Well, really explains and says it all. Most games that didn't release, Andrew and Phil both had 2, from what I was able to put together. And I just quickly pulled up Open Critic's best games. Call me out if there are any that didn't qualify, but some of the ones that were in the top 10 we did pick were Astrobot, Elden Ring, Final Fantasy, Metaphor, and Destiny 2. Some of the games we missed out on was Caves of Quud, Q-U-D.
Yeah.
Did not hear about that. It scored a 95.
Wow.
So it is ranked 1.
It was probably early access.
Potentially.
No, it's
Okay.
not an early access game. It is if you looked at it, it's similar into the Balatro vibe of where it's like pixelated. It's like it looks like it's made in like 1999.
Yeah.
But the type of game it is, it's also procedural generation. It's like turn-based combat. Looks super cool. It is on my list to play. But yeah, not a single one of us would have looked at this game.
Yeah, it came out December is what I think it says here.
Yeah.
On PC. Vampire Survivors Ode to Castlevania was a 94, released on pretty much every platform in October.
I don't know if that would have been eligible. I guess it might have been.
Might have been.
DLC.
Tsukume, A Piece of Blue Glass Moon, was a PS4 Switch game, an interactive story game.
Yeah, I was looking at that one.
92.
PS4?
Yeah, PS4 and Switch. June. Balatro, of course. And then the last game I'll call out was Satisfactory, which was a PC game that released in September. Scored a
that
91.
one would not have been eligible because I know that one was in early access.
Yeah, that was in early access for a while.
Yeah. So just a couple tales of the tape, and a couple I put together pretty quickly, and I'll try to keep track of it as we go. I think it really paints a clearer picture, in addition to everything we've said so far.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So, I mentioned this earlier, but we did make some rules changes for this season. So I'm just going to really quickly run through what the rules for the league are for this season, and then we are going to get the draft rolling here. So, I believe last year I think we did 12 games, right? Or was it 14?
No, it was 12. We upped
12.
the total.
Yeah. So we upped the total to 14 games this year instead of just 12. So there are more games that we're going to be picking up, which means we're going to have to be taking some bigger shots on some unknowns. We are going to draft 6 of them tonight, and then we're going to pick up the other 8 throughout the year with bids. Another change for this season is we have unlimited drops to games that have not been counterpicked and have not come out yet. So previously, I think we had 3 or 4 drops, and so that meant that like once you picked up a game, there was it. Essentially, we decided as a group, like, hey, there were games that I might have picked up had I not, only been able to drop 3 or 4 games this season. So we're doing unlimited drops. Hopefully, that'll make it a little bit more fun. A little bit, if people are abusing it, we may change that next year. But the idea is to make it a little bit easier for you to pull the trigger on those games, pick them up, and then kind of see how it goes and maybe drop it later.
And they still have to be
counter-
unreleased. I don't know if you mentioned that, but like there
Yeah.
are still some stipulations to the drops. You can't just drop willy-nilly.
Yeah. We have 3 counter picks up from 2 last year. We're going to draft 1 tonight, and then we're going to have 2 that we pick up throughout the rest of the year. And those have to be in by November 1st. I think I read. Is that correct, Andrew? And
Yeah.
so if they're not in, that just gets you a negative
I
20 points or
believe
whatever it is.
I believe they have. You do get more time. It's just November 1st. The game that you pick has to have a release date.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Because
Eric
I
picked one really late last year.
Really late, yeah. And
Yeah.
and I was risking the negative 15, but I had to pick one with a release date. I couldn't pick one that was
Okay.
still,
Yeah.
just TBD.
Gotcha. And so we also have a list of banned tags. I think things have not changed.
The only thing that's
really, but
changed is the early access
okay.
that we
so
flip-flopped on last year.
Yeah, so we have banned current games that are in early access. So like Hades 2, nobody can pick that up just because it's already out there. It's already in
Path of
early
Exile
access.
2.
Yeah, Path of Exile 2 is another one. But if a game has not released yet and comes out and is in early access, we can pick that game up and just run that risk of potentially not enough outlets review it in early access. And maybe it just doesn't hit the 1.0 yet or something like that. We also can't pick up director's cuts, partial remakes, ports, games that have already come out internationally, just full-on remakes, remasters, and the yearly installments. Now, the yearly installment one's a little weird because it's like Call of Duty comes out every year, but it qualifies for you can pick it up every year just because it's a different quote-unquote game every year. The campaign is different anyway. Madden technically has a campaign, but you can't pick that one up because I guess that is still just football every year or something. I don't know. But most of the time we're not picking up sports games in here anyway. I think the NCAA football one was kind of the outlier there for us. So, but yeah, so those are the ones that we can't pick up. So if you are listening or watching and you hear like, why didn't they pick this game up? It might be because it qualified as one of the banned tags. So yeah, so those are the rules. We set the draft order before we started recording this. So I'm going to kick it to Phil to give us the rundown on how the draft order was set.
Yeah, so we did this NBA draft lottery style where the worst team had the most opportunities to win the first overall pick. So the way that it works in the NBA, whoever finishes last, they get, for this example, for the example that we use today, 12 chances to get the number 1 overall pick. So I put my name 12 times into the spin the wheel simulator, and then it was Jay who got 10 instances where his name popped up, and then 8, 6, 4, 2. So, in theory, I had the biggest opportunity to get the number 1 overall pick, and Dylan had the smallest chance to get the number 1 overall pick, whose name was only on the wheel twice.
Yep.
And Dylan won the number 1 overall pick through the draft lottery system. I got number 2, and I will go over the whole draft order here in a moment. But I thought it was pretty fun. A little bit of an incentive for, or like a little bit of help for the whoever did worst in the league the previous year without just outright giving them the final pick. So we'll see.
And
I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I would like to throw out there that while we were talking about all of this, the winner of the 2024 draft, threw out there, hey guys, I'm cool if we just the person who got last place picks first and me getting first place picks last, level the playing field a little bit,
Haha.
like give everybody a chance to kind of if you performed poorly because maybe you had a bad spot in last year's draft, this is your chance to like get that number one game. And they were like, no, maybe not. Let's do it this other way. And then I got first pick. So this was not my doing. I tried to give them outs. I tried to give them options. So
To
don't
be
blame
fair,
me.
what I do like about it is I do think it also avoids just tanking, which is
Yeah.
always possible. Because I'll tell you right now, if I know I'm getting first pick and I'm like really far, I'm probably just dropping games 3/4 into the year, playing for next year. So I also think it's a really
Yeah.
good element, and it's also just absolutely hilarious that you got the
Mhm.
first pick. Like that's gonna be the highlight of the draft for me.
Yep.
Yeah, so threw it out there, and we'll see. We'll sit. I think it was received pretty well. So if it works, we'll stick with that. So
Yeah. So run us down the order, Phil, because I don't have it up in front of me. Or
I
you have
I
it?
you
do.
guys didn't write it
Oh,
down.
okay.
Okay, I didn't.
Okay. I didn't
I-
write it down.
I
Andrew's
made
got
the
it.
wheel, and I struggled with that.
we
So-
did. We did have to do it twice. Andrew, do you have it, or otherwise I got it?
No, I have it if you want me to go through
Yeah.
it. So the first was Dylan, second was Phil, third is Jay, fourth is Stefan, fifth is myself, and sixth is Eric.
Okay. And this is the time where we will introduce our publisher names.
I was gonna say, if you've been watching the
Uh,
video version, they've been like in front of us this whole time with no context, but
Yes.
we will now contextualize what these words mean.
How are
Yes,
you gonna
so-
put Phil's in the overlay? That's I can't wait.
I
to
made
see
the
that.
font smaller.
Okay.
You just
People with
just make it
magnifying
tiny.
glasses or
Yeah.
So my team name is Medication Amusement. Any guesses, excluding Andrew, who knows what it is because I told him last night.
Medication amusement.
The hint I will give you is that the second word threw me. If you just focus on the first word and like single word publishers, that might help.
Medication. Sick. Something.
Nope.
Medication.
Is it? It's Remedy Entertainment.
It is. It is Remedy Entertainment.
Remedy.
So shout out to Remedy Entertainment. I'll kick it to Phil. Phil, what's yours?
My name, as I mentioned in the chat, maybe conjuring the name of a known fraudster in the gaming world, such as Peter Molyneux, maybe created some bad juju. So I'm going with Naughty Dog Remastered, the Definitive Edition, Part 2 Director's Cut.
Yep.
So
Solid.
And he'll buy that
for the
game.
vibes. I will.
Yeah.
I will. I actually have it on my wish list.
Just keep selling you the same game over and over and over again. Somehow
About it.
keep getting away with it. Jay, what's your publisher name?
Should have put an Elden Ring on it.
I love that name.
Yeah, I do
Thank
love
you.
that name.
Solid,
top tier
solid
name.
name. Solid
Mhm.
name.
Yeah, no, I was inspired because as of 3 days ago, I've started playing Elden Ring. My
Oh.
first ever foray into Souls like Bloodborne, anything like that. So I was inspired.
And an
Nice,
Elden Ring
nice.
game is up for grabs this year.
Yeah,
It is.
it is. So, well, let us know, Jay, when you get a little bit further into that, if you want to come on and talk about it. We're always down to do a fourth or fifth Elden Ring podcast.
Yeah, just give us
So-
another reason to talk about From Software and
Just-
Elden Ring.
Yeah, no, that'll be a fun episode title. For first time game. Yeah, no, I can see it now. The latest spin on it. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Now we'll kick it to Stefan. Stefan, what's your publisher?
It is Honorable Kick Studio. This is a pretty easy one to figure out.
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch, yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
In ode, because we were talking about the other day, to Sly Cooper, who is in purgatory from Sony. Please give me another Sly Cooper game. I am begging you. We don't need another Last of Us, any type of edition. Take them, bring them, or that's Naughty Dog. Sorry, they're doing Ghost of Yotai. The Ghost of games, bring them back. Just one game. I just need one. That's all. That's all I'm
I
asking
second
for. Is a
that.
single game.
Well, I hope you get your wish, and it's not just a remaster of a game that came out 30 years ago.
No, they put
or
in.
however-
I would also take a remaster.
Hey, listen,
Real-
a remaster of Sly Cooper 2, I would instantly pay $60
Two
for. You
and
would
three,
not,
yeah, I'd take
yeah,
it.
I'd take them immediately.
We do have 2 versions of Ghost of Tsushima.
yeah.
Yeah, take your Sly Cooper inspired outfit in Ghost of Tsushima and shut up.
Same thing.
I need to go collect him in Astrobot as well. I know he's in there.
Andrew, what's your publisher?
My publisher name is Digital Imagination. I was trying to come up with like a play on Ubisoft, but everything would have had like hard in it, and so I shifted and went with EA. So it's
Okay.
Electronic Arts.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. They are coming back around, EA is the Ubisoft of
Yeah, Ubisoft is the new EA, and EA is the Ubisoft of like the aughts.
yeah.
Congratulations, you're not the worst publisher anymore.
Yeah, EA voted like worst company of all time or something back in like what was
Yeah.
that, 2008 or something,
Good
2010.
times.
Yeah.
And then we'll round it out with Eric here. What's your publisher?
Yeah, so mine was one of the first ones. I'm gonna assume someone's figured it out by now. It's Heroic Tourneys. Anybody wanna?
I
Take a
figured it
stab
out,
at
but
that
I
one?
want to let somebody else have a chance to.
All right.
Sure. I bet you did.
To not get this one's kind of crazy, I think.
I'm sure it will
With
be
what we
super
got.
obvious when
Yeah.
you say it, but
Yeah, I'm blanking.
It's so funny because I think the word tourneys is like so out there of
Yeah.
a word, like in 2025, that we just don't know how to handle it.
Right.
Okay. Andrew, did you figure it out?
no, I was completely
You're
bluffing.
lying?
Yeah, no, I have no idea.
Did I think I got you guys last year too. I feel
No,
feel like I'm
no,
really
I
good at
got last year I figured that one
you
out.
did figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
figured out the last year.
Anybody want an extra moment?
I'm skeptical of whether when you say this, are all of us gonna be like, oh yeah, that's so
I
obvious,
think
or is
so.
everyone else gonna be like, that's
What
not
are
a,
you
that's
talking
not a
about?
synonym? Yeah.
I
Like, what are you
think so.
talking about?
I googled the synonyms for both of these words, and these are what came up.
You
I
sure
promise
that you're sure it's not
Did
antonyms?
you also
Sure it
have
wasn't
to
ChatGPT.
Google the meaning of synonym?
I did first. I always do.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on.
All right, the big reveal.
Yeah.
I
What
don't
is
know.
it? What is it?
Heroic Tourneys is Epic Games.
Oh,
Oh,
my
okay.
god.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Boo!
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I thought that was clever. Okay.
Tourneys for games.
What?
Oh,
No, don't give me that for it.
oh. All right. Are we ready to draft?
I believe
Please.
Let's do
we
it.
are ready to draft.
All right. Start drafting.
Dylan wants GTA.
Yeah, kicking it to medication amusement. It should update on your ends. If it doesn't, maybe refresh the page. But it should.
Yeah, I refreshed the page.
Yeah, it is. It is live now.
Okay, I see it. So, if I was a smart man, I would be picking up GTA 6 right now. But in my heart of hearts, I have to pick up Monster Hunter Wilds.
I mean, that's also a smart choice. Like,
I mean, I do think Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be a fantastic game. I do think it's going to be my personal game of the year. I'm not as bold as Eric is. I'm not convinced that like Astrobot it's going to be game of the year. I'm not going to throw that statement out. I would love it if it is. But yeah, I am super excited about Monster Hunter Wilds. I played the beta. It was super fun, and I cannot wait until that game comes out. And it's probably going to be pretty much the only game I play from March on. So
Nice. All right.
I'm also not 100% convinced GTA 6 comes out this year.
No, but if it does, it will probably be in the 90s because the last, like, all
Yeah.
of them have been. And Red Dead. That takes us over to Phil.
Yeah, I am also not going to take GTA 6.
Wow.
I don't think it's coming out.
Oh,
Wow.
I don't think it's coming out.
Timestamp
and the
this
game-
for the next year.
Yeah, that might come back and it might come back and bite me. But every GTA, I think, has had a delay. Going back to 4, so between 4 and 5, I'm pretty sure those were both delayed, and we haven't heard anything. Haven't seen anything from it
There was
other
that
than
trailer last year.
that initial trailer. Yeah, the one trailer. I don't think it's coming out. I think the safer pick for me is gonna go Doom. It was either this
Doom.
or
Dark Ages.
yeah.
Round
I'm
one
gonna go with
pick
Doom.
Doom. Okay.
Yeah, because I do have a game ranked higher on my wish list, but I'm gonna go Doom.
All right.
Okay.
I feel good about Doom.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Jay, so you were bemoaning being third. And GTA 6 is still here for you to pick.
Yep. I was really, frankly, I was hoping it wasn't going to be there. To be completely honest, because I didn't want to have to make this decision.
I didn't want to make the decision here.
Well, so and the further it goes, I could kick it to Stefan and make him also make the decision. But also, I think if I know Stefan from the 2 times we've talked via this, I know what games he likes, and I know that we like the same games, and okay, I might be thinking about this too much.
No,
but
keep it up. Just
well, shoot. This is tough. Okay, so do I think it's gonna continue to get kicked down? No, there's no way it makes it to the second round, right?
I'm curious what game you're
So,
talking about.
So we have unlimited drops. Yeah. And I told myself I was gonna take big swings. And so I think I have to take Grand Theft Auto 6.
Wow. Yep.
I think you will be glad you did that.
Third round pick.
Nobody's gonna counterpick
GTA
it.
6.
Nobody's
That's
gonna
true.
counterpick it.
That's the counter pick that happens like in September when it still hasn't come out.
Right, yeah,
and-
but I think Rockstar will be good enough to let us know that
Yeah.
it will be before then.
Yeah.
So I think that they're on top of it enough that I think that I'm not gonna get stuck with this. I can at least drop it. So
Yeah.
that's how we're gonna roll.
Well, and like my prediction that I brought up on our predictions episode is that I think it will get delayed, but not out of this year. Like I think it'll have a
In the
few
late
delays throughout the
2025.
year, but it'll just end
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
coming out like towards the end of the year when
Like
they
a holiday release.
yeah, they're gonna announce it for like summer or something, and then it's gonna get like kicked to September and then ultimately come out in November kind of thing.
November.
Like that's my prediction.
Yeah, so it's probably gonna get put out. I mean, frankly, before whatever the award season cutoff is, and
Right.
that's their deadline. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sell those shark cards for Christmas, baby.
Right.
Ugh.
All right. So that brings us to Stefan.
Well, surprisingly enough, I would not have picked GTA 6 if it got to me. I do believe it's going to come out this year. I do believe it's going to be a good game, but I also have I was talking about before, I'm going with my gut on games that I really want to play. I'm super excited to play. And the game I've been most excited since I saw the trailer is Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Yeah, that looks cool.
It's the
I knew that
JRPG.
wasn't going to get to the second
That one
round,
looks
but I was
cool.
like,
Yes.
I pointed that
that's-
out in the midway episode last year. Or
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I was thinking I would maybe get in the second round because there's another game I really, really want, and I hope it's there. But this game, everything I see of it, it's my type of game. I love turn-based combat games. I love JRPGs. I love the art style. It is just such a beautiful game. And unlike last year, like I said, there were other games that I wanted. I was going with the safe ones. I don't even know how well this will review, but it's a game I'm most excited for. So I'm glad I was able to pick it up.
Nice. I am also super pumped about that game. It looks super cool.
so cool.
Yeah. All right, that brings us to Andrew.
Let's see.
Jay, you should have passed on GTA 6. I just wanted to see how far
See
down
how far
it would have continued to go.
I would have grabbed it. I would have taken it.
Yeah. Also, and it would have made it past me in the second round. I could forego it in the first round, but it's there
for
second,
sure.
it's
Yeah, I would
gone.
have absolutely taken it in the second round.
Yeah.
I think I know which game you might have been in between, Jay. So
Yeah, I don't think it's.
I had a game higher than Doom, but I won't.
Yeah, I mean, I had GTA 6 like at 6th on my, because I was like, if I go last in the first round, I will take GTA 6.
yeah,
But I foregoed several 5 games to jump down and get it. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. It could win me the whole thing, but also,
that's true.
We also have more games this year, so like having one standout game matters a little bit less than it usually does, I think.
Yeah.
So, but it gets me off to a good start if it comes out. But
yeah, I was gonna say a 96 Open Critic score is still a 96 Open Critic score. So.
So it's tough when you're like looking at the list of games and it's like, now I actually have to choose one. Because you don't know what's going to be left when it comes back to you. I'm torn between like 2 or 3 at this point. I think I'm going to have to go Death Stranding 2. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't even put that on my watch list. I was like, no.
I'm going to go with The Ghost of Yotai.
Okay. Yeah. I do feel like that one's gonna come out this year because it's pretty much all that we know that Sony has announced as like a new game that's coming out that's on the slate. So I would be shocked if that one got delayed because what else do they have
Again,
right
I could
now,
see it being like delayed, but I don't think it'll be like delayed into next year. I think it is kind of PlayStation's, like you said, their big game this year.
Yeah. And that brings us to Eric.
All right, I'm gonna tell you. I really thought I was picking GTA 6 here. I really thought you guys were not gonna do it. So it did throw out because I was gonna go all in. It was gonna be the craziest back-to-back picks you've ever seen.
He was gonna do. He was
definitely
literally gonna do GTA Silk Song. Yep.
You already knew it. I was gonna go all in.
I knew. I was like, he's gonna pick Silk Song again. He's gonna say, "This is the year."
I feel like I have to go all in.
It's like the drafting of Kyle Pitts in fantasy every year, where it's like, this is the year it's gonna happen.
There's got to be a reason you guys left me the Elden Ring game. That's all I've been thinking about as it's on there. We really don't think this game's gonna come out this year. Is that what it is?
No, I think it'll come out for sure. It's a bit of an unknown quantity with them kind of doing the multiplayer roguelike kind of thing. It was one of the ones that I was considering like last pick. So it's definitely one that's in the running. But it's an unusual kind of remix of the Elden Ring concept for FromSoft.
Yeah.
For me, it's interesting, but with like all the other FromSoft games, those are like slam dunks. Those are like when you saw Elden Ring, you were like, this is gonna be good. When you see like even like when they came out with Armored Core, you're like, these games look like they're gonna be great. But roguelikes are also, they're not super niche, but like it's not something that appeals to everybody. So adding that along with Elden Ring, you're taking like 2 niche genres, mashing them together. It more than likely will be good, but it's one where it's like I'm not 100% like confident in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't let this game go into the second round though. So
That's
fair enough.
That's fair.
yeah, I'm gonna have to pick it. So that's definitely gonna be one.
Okay. So that is what, Elden Ring,
Night Rain.
Night Rain.
Night Rain. Yep. So let me make that pick, and then I've got back-to-back picks.
Yes.
Now this is the question, right? Because Silk Song is not making it to me. One of you bastards will, as a second round pick, select Silk Song.
You're right.
It's
we
a
will.
risk. It's 100% a risk for sure.
You should definitely
that'd be
grab it right
crazy.
now. Yeah.
I'm definitely taking it.
I might. Like, there's a good
Eric,
chance.
Eric, I have to use the same fucking trailer for Silk Song every time for the past 3 years because that's all we know about the game.
I just want you to know respectfully, Eric, you picked last in the
man.
third round. It's not coming back to you at the end of the third. And if this is the year it comes out, that's a guaranteed 90 plus.
I know. I just don't
And if
like
it's-
that
this is the
you're
year-
trying to convince me now.
No, I'm not trying to convince you. No. Listen, you don't have to pick it, but I'm letting you know you will not get it.
Yeah, no, I know. I kind of have to pick it here is what I'm feeling. And there's a lot of other. This is the thing, right? So I feel like I have to explain it, and you're gonna have to probably use the trailer here because because I could pick any other game here, but for like the value of a second round pick, and I'm already taking a risk here a little bit with Elden Ring, with the unknown quantities there. I already kind of was gonna go GTA Silk Song, and Elden Ring Silk Song. I kind of feel it.
Hey,
So,
man, do it.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm drafting it.
Do
All right.
It's done. I don't feel
I love it.
don't feel great about it, but
You
yeah,
shouldn't.
no,
You shouldn't
I
feel
felt
great about it.
I felt pretty sure.
You are gonna have
That
to take it next year too, just so you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
that's
I
the
know.
rules.
So if we could just not counter pick it, that'd be great.
Who was taking this before Eric joined the league?
Joe took it like 2 or 3 years in a row, and it never came out. I'm pretty sure we used the same trailer for it back then that
Now-
I use now.
Now is the
so-
real question: would anybody have picked it
No.
in the next 2 rounds?
No, I
No.
would have picked it in the third.
You would have picked it. Okay.
I was not kidding when I tell you, because more
Yeah.
than like I have 3 games that are on my list. More than likely, one of them will be taken by the time it gets to me in the third. I would risk it for Silk Song just because it would be hilarious.
Yeah, and at that point, I feel like when I get my back-to-back picks by the next time I go, there'll be some games that I feel good about there that I'll have missed out here, but may make it to me later. So yeah, that's my thought process behind it. I don't feel great about it, but here we are.
I also 100% believe you would have spite counterpicked me on it just because I did it to you last year, and then this would be the year would come up. So you'd be like,
Yeah.
you took it counterpick, and then it's a 98. And
That's
you're-
exactly what would happen to me. Yes.
So
Yep.
this was best case scenario for you.
So
all right. Yeah, that brings it back to you, Andrew.
I'm torn between 2, and it's like, I think one of them is more likely to come back around than the other, and so that's kind of how I'm going to base this.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go ahead and pick up Metroid Prime 4.
Okay.
I think that will be one of Nintendo's like heavy hitter games this year. I think it'll probably come out along with the new Switch. And
speaking of things people have been saying for years,
they have been saying it for years, but like we're getting leaks of the hardware now, and Nintendo themselves has said that it's coming next year. So
yep.
passing it on to Stefan.
I'm also between 2. Well, I'm kind of between 3, but 2 of them are absolutely ones I want to play this year. One of them I know will score really well. The other might not score well, but it is. I'm going to have to go with it, even though I know it might not score as well. I've been waiting for this game for. I can actually tell you. For 14 years, 15 years for a new
wow.
one. For a new one,
Oh.
I'm picking Fable.
Okay.
Fable 3, not as well received by most people. I still loved it. Fable 2 is one of my top 3 games of all time. And I love, at least for me, I love what I've seen of the new one.
Yeah.
I'm definitely hoping it comes out this year, but I've been waiting for this for so long. I'm going with my gut on it.
Yeah. That I am excited about the new Fable. The trailers that we have seen so far make it look like it's got that nice, dry, like British sense of humor, and hits all of the like Fable boxes. So I'm hoping.
Also looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Same thing with Claire Expedition. These games are looking really good this year.
It's the Forza studio.
Who is it? Fable? Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Forza Horizon.
Is there a Lamborghini in Forza? No, Fable.
Maybe. I wouldn't put it past them.
Maybe. Fable is the type of game where they would put in a car. They would just put in a car for the culture.
Yep.
What is that, like British auto show? They just have like a segment that's like basically parodying
on
that.
The BBC, yeah.
Top Gear, I think.
Top
Gear.
Gear,
Yeah, they just have like a Top Gear mission.
Yep.
I could totally see them doing that.
Yep. All right. So Jay, talk us through what's going on in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually have my top 2, Metroid Prime was number 1 on my list. Elden Ring was number 2 on my list. So those have both gotten snatched.
Should have put an Elden Ring on it.
I know.
Oh wow! I didn't even think of that.
Yep, I know. I really set myself up for failure there. I'm not gonna lie. But then 4, 5, and 6 are also gone off my list. So I have to go with number 3 on my list. And this is the one I thought for sure Stefan was going to take. I guess I don't know if he's played the first one or maybe early access scared him.
You're about to say it. Don't say it.
Yeah, I am going to pick up Slay the Spire 2.
No, those were the 2 I was between. Those were the exact 2 I was between, and I was like, I was like praying because I was like, Jay's the only one who would take this, and I was like, I'm just hoping he has enough over it. Slay the Spire 2 is going to be so good.
I think it's going to be so good. The only thing that makes me nervous is that it's going to be pretty unfinished in early access, because I never played the first one in early access. I only played the finished product, but I know it's still got fantastic reviews in the beginning. It's really just balancing the game for them.
I think that one's gonna review so well. Like I said, if
agree.
if Fable was off the board, that one was an instant. Wouldn't even have thought about it yet. That's such a good pick.
I almost picked it instead of Grand Theft Auto 6 because I thought for sure, with you having 2 picks before my next pick, it would be gone.
That's the thing. You picking Grand Theft Auto, I was like, okay, maybe he's not looking here. I was like, maybe I can get a sneaky little third rounder, but no, that's gonna be easily the steal of the draft. That's such a good pick.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be a solid pick. Because I feel like half the time when I get on my Switch, not that I play it like super often, but I do see Jay on there playing Slay the Spire.
Same thing if you get on PC. He's playing it there too.
Yes, I recently picked it up on Steam, so I've been enjoying it over again.
Nice.
You have to have like 5,000 hours in that game at this point.
I would say it's probably top 1,000 for sure.
Yeah.
I like Slay the Spire, so yeah, that's why I was scared not to take it first, because but I'm excited for the game, and I'm so happy about it.
Just for my peace of mind, would any of you guys have picked Fable?
No.
I have it on my list, but it would have been a lot later.
Like
It wouldn't have
later.
made it to me. I would have,
no.
but you would have picked before me.
Yeah. I would have picked it like 5th or 6th.
That's so
But-
depressing.
That's tragic.
Phil, what's going on for you?
I'll be honest. The thing about this other game that I'm going to select now is I didn't want to take it as high as 2, but in terms of just points, I feel great about Split Fiction.
That was my other game.
Hazelight Studios returning. They've already knocked it out of the park with A Way Out and what was the one that actually won Game of the Year? Why am I blanking?
It Takes Two.
It Takes Two.
They also did Brothers, which was
exactly. So I honestly did not think this was going to be here. So this is an easy pick for me. And in terms of like score wise, I feel great. about
Yeah.
about these two games. So
That was the one I was
um,
torn between that
totally
and Metroid.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
me too.
so I looked that up after I picked Silk Song, and I was like, oh, that would have been a good
I did
pick.
not. I was
Yep.
100%. I was 100% convinced someone was gonna pick this up. I was like, oh,
I
there's no way
forgot
this is gonna be
that
here.
was Hazelight Studios, and
Yeah.
we love A Way Out. We
Yeah.
love It Takes Two.
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, guys.
We're
just to
listening.
kinda
I
look-
feel so much better.
I'm
I
worried.
feel
I'm
way
worried
better than I
towards
did
the
last
end.
year.
I'm worried towards the end, so I started pulling up articles, and so far, like IGN,
Like,
Polygon,
right now.
Now,
No, I'm just like doing more research as we go.
now. So that's
and it's
now. You mean
Well,
now?
let's just. It's kind of telling that these sites that I'm pulling up, these are pretty big sites. None of them are talking about Silk Song in 2025. So has
No.
everybody given up? Did I make a mistake?
Yeah.
Can we go back? I'm starting to regret it. Buyer's remorse.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I looked up Silk Song, and the two things that come up is Hollow Knight Silk Song may finally release this year, and then the other one is Hollow Knight Silk Song will be ready when it's ready. So take that how you will.
Yeah,
don't-
yeah. I'm starting not to feel great. It's a long way
And
until
I'm
I
about to get
draft
another
again.
game that's high on my list here shortly. So like, I feel solid.
Mhm.
Crazy.
Shortly.
All right. So I get 2 picks in a row.
Mhm.
The first one I'm gonna pick is Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
I
just
knew that wouldn't
because
get past you. Yeah.
Yeah, those- the Like a Dragon games always score pretty well. So it's not gonna be like game of the year, but I feel solid that it's gonna get me somewhere in the like high 70s, low 80s. So I feel good about that one. The next pick, I was gonna pick Split Fiction. That was my next pick. So
Yeah. There's no way I could let that slide.
yeah. So the next highest one on my list, I apologize, Jay, but I think I'm gonna pick Sid Meier's Civilization 7.
That was on my list too.
So I am hopeful that like they don't change the formula to the point where everybody hates it and it reviews very poorly. I don't think that will be the case. But I think Civ 7 looks good from what I've seen. But
Hey
yeah.
Dylan, did you play Civ 5 or Civ 6 on release?
Here's why it's not
I-
on my list, because of what Jay's about to tell y'all right now.
I did.
It's not good until
did
the-
not. I
Mm,
don't think.
That's
Eric and I are
Dylan.
benefiting from a very recent conversation about
This is the year to
civilization.
bring them on. Yeah.
You guys,
Oh,
you guys are benefiting from a recent conversation. Me and Jay are benefiting from being there, being in the trenches. We have
Hey.
been to war. We know what it's like with Civilization on release.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey Eric, I'll
Dylan.
trade you Civ 7 for Civ.
Honestly,
0 points for negative
if
points.
we're introducing trades, because I was also disappointed like a dragon. I knew it wouldn't come to me, but I was disappointed about that as well. There's talks, so if we want to open up trades, just let me know how that works, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So yeah. Apparently Civ 7 is going to be bad when it comes to that.
No, this time will be different.
This time will be
time they
super
got it.
different, Dylan. Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, Civ 5 and Civ 6, and Stefan, feel free to back me up here. But yeah, no, these games come out not quite, pretty incomplete. They rely on their expansions later
Go.
on to really
Okay.
bolster them and make them as great as they are. At least the last two have.
Yeah.
And specifically 6 had some pretty glaring technical issues, I recall, at least for me. So yeah, it was on my list. It was much lower on my list. It's a game
okay.
that's going to for sure come out, which I appreciate
my
it
list
for.
at all.
I'm really looking forward to this game a year after release. So
Okay.
that's how I feel about it. The expansions
Yeah.
that come out in 2026 will be on my watch list.
Jay,
Gotcha.
Jay was on our foresighting predictions episode for the podcast, and I think his exact words were, "This is the most 7 out of 10 game that I can
Hey.
guarantee."
Seven out of 10 doesn't lose me points. I'm okay with that.
I don't think it's going to lose you points. No, I do think it's.
Yeah.
I think it's going to get.
Yeah.
This is my bold claim. I think it's gonna get you 6 points.
Okay. We'll clip this out. And we'll
There you
go.
run it next year.
Sounds like a pretty safe counter pick to me.
Yeah.
Could be.
Maybe I shouldn't have gone so hard on it. I forgot about that part of it. I was just so excited. I was really waiting for him to like put in the pick on my screen before I talked.
Before
about
you
it.
said that. Yeah.
Um,
Well, see, I still feel okay about it because a lot of the other games that I have on my watch list, I'm like, are bigger question marks to me.
Sure.
Like, I think we are now in the part of the draft, at least on my end, where I'm like, I hope this game is good, but I don't know. So
I always forget how fast the games disappear with 6 of us drafting them. It's like, oh yeah, I have like tons of games on my watch list. I'm good. And I'm like, oh crap, I need to start adding some more games to my watch
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, remember when
like
I
that-
said you said I'm gonna still have some when I come back? I'm not feeling good. Not feeling good.
Well, you did just pull
That's
up an
why-
IGN article mid-episode, so yeah. You...
I'm panicking. It just I don't learn from year to year.
That's why we love you.
I had this problem. Last year where all my games were going. I have 40 games on my list. I am ready
Nice.
to go.
yeah,
I am locked in. Yeah.
Six,
Well,
yeah, 6
I'm
picks,
get-
6
I'm getting
players,
6
40, but I
36
have
items on my
I have
list.
Yeah, I'm getting 6. I'm getting my 6 picks. I
Oh,
have
so
a
that's
good
why
idea
they
of my
taught
team.
us math. Oh.
Yeah. Also, I just
there's-
want to point this out because I would have picked it solely for the culture. They don't have Hello Kitty Island Adventure as a draftable game, and that is a sham.
I thought
That
it
game.
came out already. Did it not?
No, it comes out the end of this month,
Okay.
Oh wow.
but it's
Never
not draftable.
Yeah.
That's an easy 90.
Sorry.
That's
Early
game of the
access.
year. That's this year Astrobot. That's this year's
Yeah.
Astrobot.
Maybe it's out already internationally or something. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Well, you can go tweet at Fantasy Critic and tell them the oversight that they have created.
Right.
This transgression they've committed.
All right, Phil, back to you.
All right, so because I feel really good about my first 2, I'm gonna go ahead and take a game that's not necessarily announced, but like it's coming. I'm gonna take the Mario Kart game. The rumor is that the Mario Kart game is gonna release alongside the Switch 2, and
Yep.
I'm gonna go. Like I said, since I feel pretty good about my first 2, I'm gonna go ahead and go Mario Kart now.
Yeah, if it comes out,
Okay.
enjoy that 97.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Or maybe it's this year's Princess Peach Showdown.
Right.
So-
Showdown.
Like they don't build upon anything that people loved in the Switch Mario Kart. It reverts backwards. Like
It might just
But,
be a
yeah,
re-release of the Switch one, which was
The
the Wii
Switch
U
one.
one, but they just add all the DLC tracks that they've been putting in, over the last few
Right.
years. They just combine everything into one package and then they sell that with the Switch
then charge
too.
more.
Yeah.
But it still might be eligible by Fantasy Critics rules, so it'll probably still
so-
review well.
But I feel fantastic right now, guys. So I'm just gonna.
He's riding high.
Yep.
And, like last year at this time, I was like, I'll pick this one. I don't know what it is, but I'll go ahead and draft this game. So I'm feeling great.
I do think it's a more valid strategy this year because I was actually finding myself looking at the unannounced entries a little closer because of the unlimited drops this year, knowing that if it ever comes, I wasted a draft pick, which is valuable, but I mean we are talking about like these last 3 picks, being pretty dicey. So, anyways, yeah,
For sure.
I'm up next, huh?
Yes.
So
Yes,
I do know what this pick is going to be. I'm curious if it was on anybody else's radar. If I'm going to make anybody upset with this, I don't know. I played the first game of this now series for the first time this year on my Switch. I really enjoyed it. It's very Disco Elysium like, but space. I'm
I
gonna
know what
pick
you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Citizen Sleeper 2, Starward Vector.
Okay.
I enjoyed the hell out of the first game, and I know it reviewed extremely well. And I think
Yes.
that the second one, if they just iterate on it, I think it's also going to score extremely well. So, yeah, I feel very good about my third pick.
I'm gonna say I heard
Yeah.
people talk about that game on like podcasts and stuff, and the people that liked it really liked it. But when they talked about it, I was like, that is not a game for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, not for everybody, for sure.
Yeah. Because it's kind of like a simulated like tabletop RPG, right? Like there's like dice
Yes.
rolls and stuff in it. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's dice. It's based on dice rolls. You know, you
Mhm.
make your skills better so that you can do better on the dice rolls. And like, there's I wouldn't call it combat, but you know, you have
Yeah.
a health bar that goes up that you have to maintain and things like
Mhm.
that. So, I had a great time with it. It was just a quick 10 to 15 hour experience, and did a great job. Aesthetically, extremely pleasing, and I can only
Mhm.
imagine that's gonna continue
Yeah.
to get better as well.
for sure.
Well, if Jay hadn't single-handedly ruined dice rolls for me, then maybe.
I ruined it for me too. Don't you worry.
I guess it was partially Eric's fault too, but stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
uh,
And that brings us to Stefan.
Yep. So another trend that seems to happen every year is that there's always a specific fighting game that gets released and
Mhm.
always does really well. So the one that I'm betting on this year that I'm really excited for is the Riot fighting game, the 2XKO.
Yeah, that's on my
I've
list.
been keeping up with that one for years.
It's finally
since
coming
it
out
was
this year,
originally
huh?
announced. Yep.
Nice.
It looks great. From I haven't gotten the chance to play it yet, but all the gameplay I've seen, because they've had the beta test and stuff, looks amazing, and I feel like it's
Mhm.
going to be one that does end up reviewing really well.
Yeah.
Really excited for that one.
Yeah, Riot makes a good game, you know? Like League of Legends is not my jam, but like it has been around and survived through all of this, and in general their other projects seem like they do. Like Valorant
Valorant still.
is good. Teamfight Tactics good. Even like the League of Legends like stories and stuff that they release always tend to at least get positive reviews, you know? So Andrew,
Yeah.
looks like your face is saying, I don't know what to pick here.
Yeah, it's like now I'm conflicted on like my B and C tier picks of like which one do I want to go with. Because we get to the point now where it's like I feel less, I guess, a little bit less threatened that these games are just like super highly sought after. But you know, we are all running out of options together. So
Yeah, by the end of this round, 18 games will have been picked, which is a lot of games to be taken off the table.
I'm going to bet on Obsidian with my next pick.
Okay. Which one?
I'm going to bet on the one that I personally feel like they're both going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
One of them got delayed into this year, and so like that's for sure coming out.
Yeah.
The other one doesn't have a date yet, but I feel pretty good that it'll also come out. I liked The Outer Worlds 2. I think that the second one will be probably just more of the same and like better in that sense. But since I'm personally going kind of with like Stefan's go with your gut kind of logic, I'm personally a fan of like fantasy much more than space and sci-fi. I am going to pick up Avowed.
Okay. Yeah, everything I've been seeing about that game makes it sound like people are pretty pumped about it.
It looks
and like it plays well. You know, so
yeah, it looks gameplay wise like not very special to me. I think it hinges on the choices and the writing and you know all the stuff that Obsidian typically does pretty well. So I think if they do that well this time in this setting, it'll review pretty well. I'm not thinking it's going to be like a 90s game, but I do think it will get positive points.
Yeah. Well, it's set in their world, like the
yeah, what is the
Pillars of Eternity world, which like both of those games have reviewed very well, and they've been like expanding that lore for years. So
That's true.
I could see like with all of that lore, the story being very good.
Being
and
part
the
of an
story,
established universe. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, and that brings us to 2 back-to-back picks from Eric. What's the IGN article telling you, Eric?
Why don't you go ahead and pick up Replaced?
Leave me alone, man. I'm not relying on the IGN article right now. It's just
Okay.
again,
Oh,
I started
GameSpot
noticing.
then. Okay. Polygon.
Just don't
I
use
have them
Kotaku.
up. I have them up for like the next 2 times from now when I have to go and pick my 5th game or 6th game that I'm gonna be probably struggling because my watch list is shrinking,
Mhm.
as you may be able to tell. However, I feel a little bit better. I wanted to take some more chances, and that's exactly what I'm doing with 2 picks back to back. Death Stranding 2 being here
Okay.
feels like I
Wow.
gotta. Feels
Do
like I
you?
gotta.
No, let him. Don't just let him do it.
Don't-
All right.
Feels like I gotta. I mean, yeah. Is there a chance it doesn't come out this year?
Yes.
That's not
Sure.
what I'm concerned about.
Is it a chance it's not good? That's also
Just let him
Uh,
keep going,
risk.
guys.
I know people are really excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Sure.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
You-
So I'm gonna.
Did you
I'm
lock
gonna
it
do
in?
Yeah, it's locked in.
Okay, it got a
Okay.
6 from IGN.
Wow.
The first one did.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
the first one did not
game.
review well.
It was
Yeah.
very split.
It's a
Yeah.
walking sim.
And Kojima's just gonna double down. Like,
It's the walking sim.
It's gonna
You know
be.
what? I'm gonna walk even harder. In this
What was the open critic
I
score?
don't
I'm
remember.
gonna have 2
I think it
babies
was
that
in
I
the
carry
70s.
around.
a front
I looked this
backpack
up
and a
before,
regular
yeah.
backpack.
I'm
I
gonna carry a
think this
full-grown person on me this time.
I think this game could at least. It's gonna net me positive points. So
Yeah.
I mean that's
The
that's
the
gotta say
Kojima fans will come out and review it well,
Mhm.
for sure.
and all the people that
Um,
don't get it will review it poorly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
You
that's
hear
don't
you.
understand.
no, that's true.
You just didn't
It's-
understand.
Yeah, you don't appreciate art.
Responsibility is going to be in this
I
game.
look forward
It's
to
also a
hearing your
game I'm
review,
like
Eric.
not gonna play. You know what I mean? So like I am taking a chance
Like
here,
most
but
of the games.
an argument can be made all of the games I'm picking, including my next one, which Andrew alluded to actually, are all going to be pretty much risks. Risks as far as the games that they are. Are they going to come out this year? I feel like I'm not going to get a game with the potential of the Outer Worlds 2 by the next time I draft, so I am going to also go there with my next pick. So I am picking a lot of games here.
Solid choice.
Yeah, I think if all 4 of these games come out, man, I'm looking good. And if all 4 don't, I'm in trouble. So I'm kind of going risk reward here on my picks.
Well, to be fair, one of your games don't exist. So you've actually only drafted 3 real games.
It's gonna
so-
shadow drop on December 31st, 2025. You're not paying attention.
I feel like that's been said every year for 4 years. So
Possibly, yes.
See, that's a sunk cost fallacy at that point. You're just believing that much. You gotta just keep on believing.
There's no guarantee that Death Stranding 2 exists until we're playing it as well.
Yeah.
Like this is Kojima
Yeah, no.
we're talking about.
No, 100%. A lot of risk happening here. I'm very, very aware of that. I am hoping that I can pick some pretty solid ones to end the draft and then pick up some really good games throughout the year. But I am banking a lot on these 4.
So Eric, I just looked it up from our previous like level playing field league, which started in 2020, and it was picked up and didn't come out in 2020 in the
Oh,
first
that's
time that we
unfortunate.
did this. So
That's okay. I'm sure things will change.
You can probably guess
This
how
is
the
the year.
conversations went back then too.
Exactly. I'm nervous, guys.
Hey, you got second place. I mean, something worked out for you.
I'm already playing for next year so I can get the lottery.
There you go.
That's what's happening here.
Can we get a supercut of all the times you've talked about Silk Song on your 2 podcasts and
Oh,
like
man.
just like all of them jammed into a mini episode, or I guess it'd be a
Right.
full episode.
Yeah, it might be like an hour long.
Yeah.
right.
The voices change, but the conversation's just repeating over and
Just-
over.
I
Like
was
if
gonna say,
it
the
comes out,
conversation
it's
doesn't
gonna
change because it's the same like 2 trailers that we have that we've always had. So
Well, it's my turn now, and I think I'm also going to pick up another game that was delayed out of last year into this year that I think will come out and I think will review positively. I think that the first game was pretty niche, but it built up a really strong cult following, and all of the previews that we've gotten for this upcoming sequel have been positive. People are excited about it. And that is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
okay. This is the part where I get to be like, do you know how the first one reviewed?
I do. It was in the 70s.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure because it's a cult classic, but it did not review well critically. So
I mean, it's positive points, but also I'm going off of like the previews from like RPG like YouTube channels and stuff that I've followed. What they've put out so far, what they've shown, what people have gotten to play has been positive. So I'm hopeful that them building on the success they found with the first one. I still don't think this game is going to be like a mainstream success. They're going for like that very specific audience, but I think that the game itself will hopefully be just like more polished, clearer, just an overall better experience to get it up into like the 80s.
yeah. Nice. Stefan, what are you thinking?
I'm between a couple, it's a bigger difference from last year. Last year, even around this time, even a bit earlier, I was more looking at what can I pick, and right now I'm at what do I want to pick. I still have a lot of options that I'm really excited for, and now it's just more of deciding what to actually go with. Um, you know,
Like the silence is deafening.
Yeah, right.
it is because I like I said, I'm between a couple of them. I'm gonna go probably a bit of a reach. Probably don't need to draft it, but I was so impressed with this game when I saw it at the Game Awards. I'm going to be picking Mecha Break.
Okay.
I am a huge Gundam enjoyer. Evangelion, anything with mechs. I love I played Armored Core when it came out. Uh, very looks really good. Looks really beautiful. The gameplay of it is maybe not something that will appeal to everyone, being PvP VE. But it once again, I'm more going for games that I am excited to play and want to play. So I'm gonna take it, and I'm excited for that one. I'm liking my list so far, and I still have a couple more that I'm thinking I'm going to be able to pick up.
Mecha Break looks awesome. I don't know that
It does.
people loved some of the like systems and monetization and stuff that they were showing when they like did their beta, but again, they can tweak that kind of stuff. The style of it and the presentation just looks super cool.
Which for me, on my list, that's kind of a theme I have where all these games look really good. Even 2XKO, like the art style and everything, these are really good looking games. Which also I'm someone who I do enjoy graphics. I enjoy things that are pixelated, and well, I actually have a couple that are like that, but really good looking games. I'm excited for them.
Yeah. Yeah. When you mentioned that, like the negatives you've heard, Andrew, have been like around the monetization, and I feel like a lot of times the critic reviews don't really take that into too much of an account. You know, like it's more about like the gameplay side of things. So
And they could potentially adjust that for whenever it actually comes out. But
right.
back to Jay.
Yeah, so I am stuck between a couple things here. I have had a good chunk of my list taken out just in the last couple picks. Outer Worlds 2, Kingdom Come was top of my list. I was a little surprised to see that go, because I feel the same exact way. Like, just in research, I knew nothing about the first game,
Right.
but I was like, people
Mhm.
are really excited about this because people have actually gotten their hands on it. They're sending out early review codes way earlier than most companies. Like, all these things that were like pointing to like being excited about it. So now I'm going a little deeper into the year, I think, with this next pick, and I was really bummed that I was so happy I got Erdtree last year. That I think DLCs are sort of like these hidden gems
Mhm.
that can like get you a lot of points. Like, you just pick one that was based on a good game, and you're probably
Yeah.
gonna do okay.
Is he
At
going
the
Liza
very, at
P?
the
Is
very
he
worst.
doing it?
I am not. I am absolutely not. I cannot bring myself to do it. It's not even on my watch list. But I'm going to go with excuse me for just 1 second. Thank you. I'm going to go with a game that I haven't played, but people continue to always recommend me. It's Chained Echoes: Ashes of Elrond. Um, I've never played Chained Echoes. I know people love this game.
Mhm.
I think that I would also really enjoy this game should I actually
Yeah.
play it. I have no idea if it's on anybody else's list, but this is highly anticipated DLC for a really, really good game that reviewed really well. So
Yeah.
that's my pick.
Nice.
Yeah. Me and Jay do have very similar tastes because this has Chained Echoes is on my list. I love that this is what part of that DLC was on my list. This is part of the pixel games that I love. I love this
Mhm.
art style.
Mhm.
I love the turn based. This is me and Jay have very similar taste on these.
Mhm. Nice.
Yeah, I remember really enjoying Sea of Stars, and friend of the show Dave being like, if you like Sea of Stars, Chained Echoes is even better. And
Mhm.
so I haven't gotten around to playing it myself, but yeah, I've only heard good things.
That brings us back to Phil. What are you thinking, Phil?
There's some solid choices here still on my watch list. Again, feeling very good about my three, and the game the game at the top here was delayed into 2025. There's one here like artistically I think looks incredible, but like with it being a newer IP, who knows?
Mhm.
And then there's one, there's a franchise that's returning, but also like I could see that one getting pushed into like early 2026. Um, you know what? We're gonna go just because I want to continue building a solid roster. I'll go Little Nightmares.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Once again, even I feel like again, if that's a game that comes out, I don't see it being below a 75 or an 80, just because how great the first two are. So yeah, just continue. I got 50 points last year, guys. I gotta go
Mhm.
known commodities that I feel
Yeah.
good about, and yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Um, with that strategy.
That is fair. Um. Okay. So I've got my last two picks coming up here. And since these are my last two picks, I feel like I can sort of freely talk about them too. So
They
like
are
part of
not
me,
your last two picks because we have
are they
6
not?
picks, right?
Yes, you are right. Never mind.
Almost. Oh, I shouldn't have said that, but I should have
You
let
should
it.
let it go,
I should
man.
have let
Let
it
him-
right out. My bad.
just-
My bad.
All right.
Honorable Kick Studio. Honorable. We
Yeah,
can't do
honorable.
that around here.
You
Honorable.
get the you get
So-
the you get the
I get the
honorable bonus star. Good job.
Yes. So in that case, the first one that I'm going to be picking up then is Mafia: The Old Country.
It's on my
That was the
list.
other one I
Um,
was thinking of.
I
Yeah,
don't know if it'll make it this year. That was my only
yeah,
concern, but I think
Yeah.
it'll be cool.
that's what I was saying.
Well, they've said it's coming out summer of 2025,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
and they've been
Mafia
asked.
4, Mafia 3 got delayed a couple
Uh,
times.
Well, they've been asked, like, there was some interview I read where they were being asked about, like, hey, do you think, like, the fact that GTA 6 is also supposed to come out this year, is that going to, like, affect it? And they were basically like, no, I don't think so, because, like, we're kind of doing two separate things.
Mm.
And so to me, that was like, they think that it's coming out this year. Will it? I don't know.
So
But
they asked
also,
the like the head of the studio for what was the Ubisoft shooter?
X Defiant?
Yeah, they asked the head of the X Defiant studio like if that game was going to get shut down, and he was like, "No, we have plans for like 2 more years of content." And then next month he was announcing it being shut down. So
Yeah.
you got to
but
take what
that's
these
also
developers
Ubisoft.
say with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
That's Ubisoft. So, and sometimes they're right, like Joseph Ferris and Hazelight Studios, you know? So,
Yeah.
I what I've also heard about Mafia is that they are reeling in some of the open world stuff, which has been like the weakest parts of their previous games, and they are focusing more on like the story and that sort of thing, which I have, has been sort of the strong suit of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm hoping that between like that and just from what we've seen, it looks really cool. That it ends up being a solid pick there.
That game is on my list. I was hesitant about it coming out this year, but I'm very excited I hope it comes out this year because I want to play it.
So, man, I'm now kind of like just stuck in like there are a few games that have dates, but I don't think they're like huge, big scoring games. And then there's I don't expect this game to make it back around because I think Andrew's going to pick it up. What's the vibe on Assassin's Creed Shadows? Like, I think it looks cool, but it's Ubisoft,
Yeah.
I think it will be the last great or good to great Ubisoft game unless they really like turn it around quick. I think this game coming from the studio it's coming from and like being in development for as long as it has and then them delaying it to like put more polish on it, like it seems like a step up gameplay wise from the like trilogy of RPGs we got recently. So I think gameplay wise it will be like a step up and an iteration and won't just be kind of like the copy paste. And I don't know that it will be enough if it is successful for Ubisoft to like get out of the hole they're in, but I personally am excited for it. It has all of the controversy tied to like the main character. I think that games journalists might lean into that and decide that they want to really champion it for that reason, and they're the ones reviewing it. So
True.
There's that potential. But just on the gameplay that we've seen so far, it looks like the actual publishers and team behind the game seem to have put some care into this one. It's the same studio as Odyssey, which is most people's favorite out of like the previous trilogy of Assassin's Creed games, the like RPG ones. So you're right. I was probably going to snag it on one of my next pickups. I haven't picked it yet, but
I have not picked it yet, and I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, for me with Ubisoft games, I'm at the point with them where whether it's the Far Cry's or Assassin's Creed's or any of their games, they're usually they have a pretty good floor. Like it's really hard for them to make a bad game, but I don't think they have what it takes to make a like good game, like a really
like
good game. So,
it's not gonna be like a game of the year. Yeah.
I think Assassin's Creed is something that's gonna be for sure gonna get at least a 70. I think the formula is just too like set in stone for it to be bad, but I don't see it getting much more than an 80, maybe an 82, because there's just nothing for them to move the needle, and Ubisoft they're just so content.
They have no reason to push the needle.
Yeah.
because their formula is so set in stone and it works for the people that don't really care too
Mhm.
much about innovation.
Well, they have a lot of
So-
reason now, but this game
Yeah,
has been in
that's true.
development before
too long-
all of
for
this
too long for it to
happened.
matter.
Exactly.
Right.
And at this point, they
Yeah.
can't really steer that ship and correct course fast enough, probably.
So if there was
Yeah.
like a Far Cry 6 on the board, then that they've been
Far
just
Cry
now
7.
recently worked 7. Yeah, that's right. I played 6. So if they had like a Far Cry 7 that they just started development in, and we could like next year we could draft it, it'd be like, okay,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we could
With
have some
everything
hope, we could have
falling
some hope for
apart.
them. Yeah.
yeah, with everything falling apart, let's see what they're gonna bring to the table, or a Watch Dogs 4, something like that.
The only argument is that Assassin's Creed is like their crown jewel series at this
Mhm.
point, and like
Mhm.
the studio making it has made some of their better games, and the like at this point it's probably all hands on deck to make this the best version of this game it could be before it comes out. I do agree with Stefan that it's like I don't think this is going to be a 90. It's not going to be a
Yeah.
game of the year contender, but I think for what it is, it's going to be one of the better Assassin's Creeds that we've gotten in a while.
That's kind of where I'm feeling like I am too, where I feel like it's a safe, like positive points, but I want to swing. So I'm going to take a shot in the dark here and pick up Wander Stop.
Jay didn't
Which-
like that.
Yeah. So Wander Stop is a like tea shop cozy management sim, but it's about like this girl that doesn't want to be there. There's some darkness, if I'm remembering the trailer correctly. I think the game director is the guy who did the Stanley Parable, which reviewed very well critically. So I'm gonna go Wander Stop. Jay, I'm sorry.
No, you should actually be sorry this time, unlike Civ 7. So yeah, no, I think this is going to be a good game. I
Okay.
picked this up last year during the year,
Mhm.
and then it got pushed, so I obviously dropped
Yeah.
it. But yeah, no, I think this is going to be good. It probably would have been my next pick. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good pick.
Nice.
All right, Phil, back to you.
Brings us back to Phil.
All right. So yeah, this game's still here. This is the one that I was Pokemon. What are the chances
I saw
Pokemon
it.
actually
I
pushes
saw
the
it.
needle and it makes a good game? Is that going to be on the Switch too?
Will it
for
matter?
Pokemon? Like,
Yeah.
So
They can
I
still
just-
run on the Wii. They haven't upgraded graphically.
You
so-
say
that's
that,
true.
but Scarlet Violet or whatever was like
barely ran
Well,
on Switch.
horrible.
Run is
Yeah.
generous.
Yeah, I'll go with the
It turned
one
on.
that I just turn on. Yeah, I'll go with the one that I mentioned a little bit earlier. It's like stylistically, it looks great. I know, like We Happy Few had like mixed reviews. People thought it was going to kind of be like really, really good. I don't know what that scored back in the day, but I remember it being like not as good as people thought. But I'll go South of Midnight here.
Yeah.
With the hope that again with something new, people are drawn to it. We see it every year with not just gaming, but like people clamor for stuff that's new and original, and then they don't support it. So I think with my fifth pick, I can take a little bit of a swing here and hope that reviewers and gamers enjoy something that looks really cool.
It looks
So,
awesome, yeah.
So I hope it's good.
I hate you.
That's cool. You picked sixth, so like you had to get through quite a few people to get to that.
Yeah. And that does look like stylistically, like you said, looks amazing.
Yeah.
I had to pull that trailer for another podcast we were doing, and I watched it again. And I was like, this looks so cool. I want to play this game.
For sure.
Jay, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could just say all the same things I said last round, but I'm not, and I'm just gonna pick it. I'm gonna pick Sea of Stars, Throes of the Watchmaker,
Nice.
Okay.
because I do. I mean, Andrew name dropped Sea of Stars, and so
Yeah.
at the very least, I think it's on his radar.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that Assassin's Creed was going to be one of his picks, and then maybe this would be another one. So I don't think it's going to make it down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and draft it so then Andrew can confirm whether or not that's true. But I I don't know. I think that this is just another solid pick. The only thing I'm like tepid on is that like the Sea of Stars like reviewers loved Sea of Stars. I
Yeah.
benefited from that. I picked it up the year that it came out. But the mood has like generally people were like, yeah, this is a fine game. You know, like there were a lot of people that were like not awe inspired with it, and so like I don't know if that's going to carry into the DLC and how people review it, but
Yeah.
it's free. It looks cool. I like the game. I'm excited for the DLC. So that's my pick.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I think a lot of times DLC benefits because like the people that didn't like the base game usually don't review the DLC. So I think you're getting sort of that like almost positive bias if the DLC gets enough reviews that it's like the people that were already sort of predisposed to enjoy the game are reviewing it. So I think that could work out for you.
Let's hope so.
All right, that brings us to Stefan.
Well, while we're on the expansion picks right now, it seems that that's the area we're going to. Glad this one was not picked up once he started talking about another expansion. I thought Jay for sure was going to pick this. Glad it went through. I missed out on 2024's Indie Darling in Balatro. I'm going to make a return to 2023's Indie Darling in Dave the Diver in the
Okay.
Jungle expansion coming out towards the end of this year.
Indeed.
Dave the Diver, I don't know if you guys if anyone here has played
Yeah,
it.
I played it.
So much fun. It's a very like immersive experience. You basically go out diving and you got to go get stuff for your sushi restaurant. And at night you do the sushi stuff. So it's a mixture of multiple different games. Very, very fun. And I'm very excited for the expansion for it.
Yep. Yeah, I picked it up as soon as Godzilla was in the game. So
Yeah, that tracks. Yeah, no, it was on my radar. I just think that I mean I know Dave the Diver was a good game, but yeah, I never got down with it, and Sea of Stars I did, so that's why I picked that over Dave the Diver. That simple as that. So I think that those will be two interesting picks to see once they actually come out. See who comes out on top there. That'll be interesting.
Andrew, you're up.
Yeah, I'm going to take Assassin's Creed this round.
Yep.
I figured. Yeah. Fair.
I
For all the
hope
reasons
it's
you
good.
said earlier.
Yeah, exactly. All the stuff I said earlier. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it lives up to that.
Yeah. It does look really cool. Like all of the trailers that I've seen, I just hope that Star Wars Outlaws looked pretty cool in all of the cinematic trailers too. So
Yeah, but over the last month or so, they've been releasing like kind of dev diary things showing like they did one on combat, they did one on stealth, and like they kind of are getting into the nitty gritty of like the gameplay mechanics. And what they've shown there already looks way better, way more polished than what they had shown earlier in the year. So I'm pretty confident the gameplay will be fun and like solid if you like those games. We haven't gotten anything about the story or like what's going on that side of things, but also they may just like not say anything about that at this point because no matter what they say with the decision that they made for their protagonists, they're just going to like set the internet on fire. So they might just like let the game just come out and people can just discover the story on their own.
Yeah, there's already that contingent that has decided regardless of what happens, they're going to hate the game. So, yeah. And that brings us to Eric. For real, his final two picks.
For real.
So,
Yeah. I feel like in the draft, the biggest thing I'm trying not to do is to feel like I have to reach for like a South Park game again and struggle.
some would argue you may have already.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you talking about?
There's a possibility. I
Couple
feel
times.
like I'm more at risk of a game that I've picked so far, at least one game not coming out this year, which would not benefit anyone else. And I think I'm going to go with that same trend with my next pick, although I think it'll release this year. Phil mentioned with the release of the Switch, everybody's passed on it. I'm not typically a Pokemon guy, but Pokemon Legends, I think I kind of have to. I think there's value.
I
in
love
this
your
particular
roster,
pick.
Eric. It's
It's very risk
amazing.
reward. It's very risk reward. I'm
Yeah.
gonna win the league, or I'm gonna get 0 points. It's really one or the
Yep.
other.
Death Stranding 2, unreleased Pokemon or unannounced Pokemon game.
Listen, I'm
I think it's announced.
Oh, they
isn't it?
announced it?
Yeah.
Well, it's the Pokemon Legends,
It's
right? Or are you doing the
Pokemon-
unannounced?
no ZA. So
Okay.
I'm
Zah.
doing Za. I'm
Okay.
doing that. And then I'm gonna follow that up, and I'm gonna pick a game because I don't know that this will be here.
It is Pokemon Legends.
Yeah,
So like the Arceus follow up, right?
yeah. It's supposed to be. Phil would probably know more about it. I'm going
Yeah.
strictly on vibes.
Yeah.
Strictly.
There is one teaser trailer.
Mhm.
With,
Yep.
like, there's a city.
Yep.
You get excited.
It does.
And
It
it
does.
Pokemon's coming back.
I did like Arceus more than I made it way farther in Pokemon Legends Arceus than I've made it in any of the like mainline traditional style Pokemon games that I've ever tried to play. So for me personally, I agree with this pick, Eric. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it gives me some value. Again, it's all risk reward.
Mhm.
With my next game, I don't know. This is probably the most, I would assume, safe bet I'm making as far as the fact that it has a release date. And from what I've seen, I think this game is at least going to net me positive. And once again, I don't think it's going to make it through you guys. So with a January release here, I'm going to go with Dynasty Warriors Origins.
Okay.
I think
Yep.
that's a solid pickup here in the 6th round. And again, I'm very much already looking ahead. I've got a full watch list
Mhm.
for bids. So this is one I wanted to make sure I fit in, and I didn't want to risk it.
Yeah, I am interested to see how Dynasty Warriors Origins does. I do think it'll get you positive points. Everything I've seen, like watched on the game, makes it look pretty cool. But it's always kind of that weird, like people that like Dynasty Warriors will probably really like this game, and it's just like, are those people the ones reviewing it? And I think hopefully so at this point in gaming media. So. What are you thinking for your final pick, Andrew? Feel free to talk us through it because it's not coming back to you.
I'm going to jump on the expansion bandwagon. I'm going to do what Jay couldn't, and I'm going to take the Liza P DLC. I hope he
Interesting.
counterpicks it, and I hope it gets a bunch of points.
I will never counterpick or pick anything that has anything to do with this game. There's no way. I can't.
Have we seen anything from this game
No.
yet, or this expansion? Okay, like it's just
he's
they've
picking
said
it to BM
yes.
me. That's
Okay.
I think that the success of the base game, I think if the
Mhm.
DLC picks up with like the teaser that the game ended with,
Yeah.
I think that if it's just kind of more of the same, if it's like a solid expansion, if it's their Erd tree, I think it's
Mhm.
going to do pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Stefan, who are you at?
I'm still between a couple of games that have still made it on my list. Some that I don't have full faith in necessarily that they'll review well. But I am going to go, and I know I shouldn't. It is the wrong pick. No one's gonna draft it. But I'm gonna go ahead and take after Eric and pick a game that has been picked before, has been picked for multiple years, it hasn't come out,
Replaced.
and it was mentioned. Yep, I'm picking Replaced.
Wow.
The game, the art style,
looks
the
awesome.
type of game it is, it looks amazing. It looks awesome.
Mhm.
You can only delay it so many times. Okay, so at least I know this game's real. Okay, this game at least has a Steam page, and I can see what it looks like. Okay, that's more than we can say for Silk Song. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my risk on it. And you know what? If it doesn't come out, doesn't come out. But I have been wanting this game, and once again going with my motto of I'm picking the games I'm most excited to play. So that taken replaced.
Nice. All right, Jay. Brings us back to you.
Yeah, so let's see here. So my sort of frame of mind here is basically what games I personally feel like that this year there's going to be a bit more of a bidding war after the draft. And so like I'm like what game do I not want to bid on? What game do I not want to have to like put
Yeah.
my budget towards? Um and I mean there's a few here. There's a few games that I think like are like solid games. There's a couple that are reaches. There's a couple that I'm not sure are going to come out this year. Um, but I'm going to pick one that I didn't know much about before doing research for the draft.
Mhm.
It's a game that's supposed to come out this summer. It's a franchise that I've heard of, but but it's being rebooted by a developer who has recently made very good games. So I'm going to go Ninja Gaiden Ragebound for my
Okay.
pick
Yep.
here. Um,
Yep.
Otherwise, I do think that this is one that would get snapped up pretty quickly afterwards. I think this
Mhm.
has being made by the people that made Blasphemous. I think
Yeah.
is a big boon.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be solid. And you know, these sort of like indie pixel games don't really get like booted very far, so maybe it gets
Mhm.
booted to the end of the year. I think it's gonna be good. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be my final pick.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those during. I think they showed that trailer during the Game Awards, and watching that, I'm not like a huge Ninja Gaiden fan, but watching it, it was like people are excited for this. People are
Mm-hmm.
pumped, and like Blasphemous and Blasphemous 2 supposed to be really good. So, um, yeah, I think I think that's a very solid pick there. Bill, what are you thinking for your final pick here?
All right. Well, Jay made me kind of adjust this a little bit because he made a good point. Like, what game do I not want to bid
Mhm.
for, and what game do I not want Stefan to outbid me for specifically? So I'm going with Kingmakers, which is a game that's coming
Okay.
out hopefully in 2025. It's the medieval game where they throw like automatic weapons and like trucks and shit into it, and it looks
Yeah.
fucking awesome. So I
Yeah.
hope that comes out in 2025. And you know, if anything, bare minimum 71, 72. But like
Sure.
I just have this idea that Stefan would probably add that to his list at some point in 2025. So I'm going to go with a vibe here and go with a fun game to round out my picks.
Hmm.
Bring us home, Dylan.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm not picking up Borderlands 4. I know that's not on my
Wasn't even on my
radar
watch
here.
list.
Yeah.
Bit away, boys. Bit away.
Um. So I'm torn. Like, there's like the British, Fallout, Atomfall,
Yeah.
Yep.
that I don't know a ton about. There's Judas,
Bioshock.
the game that is made by Ken Levine, that uh might come out this year. I don't think they've said, but like all signs point to maybe. Um, First Berserker Kazan looks cool. Uh, is it going to be good? I don't know. Uh, do I go? Do I roll the dice? And I think in our predictions episode, I predicted Super Mario Odyssey 2. Do I roll the
Just
dice
roll
and
us.
and just pick up unannounced Mario platformer?
That's what it
you
is.
know.
Yeah.
Um. Hmm. I don't know how sure, because we're already sure that like Metroid is coming out with it, right? So like
I mean, it's
if they
Nintendo.
also release Mario Kart, if they also release a Mario Kart, are they also releasing
And a
a
Pokemon
Mario
game.
platform? Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's like
You
it's
know.
like third
A
party,
lot.
but it's not third party.
You're trying to hype up your own picks a lot more than you that. And
No one wanted-
that
no
should
one
be
wanted
a sign of
Pokemon.
concern.
And we've got to think about how Silk Song plays into all of this.
No, I'm just letting you know.
don't.
During everyone's picks, you have consistently been like, yeah, well,
My game.
Pokemon Death Stranding's gonna be pretty good. Silk Song will come out. I believe it.
Don't
And
forget.
I think you're trying to convince yourself more than you're
By the
trying
way.
to convince us. By the way, don't forget, it will actually come out this year.
Nintendo released
think-
Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild in the same year, so I don't know that they're really worried about cannibalizing
Yeah.
their releases.
Yeah. My concern is that it's not announced, but nothing is. I'm going to pick Dispatch. Which is a game I personally feel like playing. I'm going to go with that mindset. I have not played Mario Odyssey, and I probably won't play Mario Odyssey 2. So if it comes out, maybe we'll pick it up for $1 in the bids afterwards. We'll see, or $1 million, whatever. We're
Let's say Mario Odyssey, a sequel to that will be very expensive bidding.
yeah. But yeah, so Dispatch is the game by one of the Telltale Games offshoots. That's like the superhero game that they showed during the Game Awards. So I thought that looked super cool. My only concern is it may not come out this year. So, all right. So that is all of our games drafted. We are now moving into the counter picks, starting from last, the final drafter going to me. So again, this is counterpicking a game that we hope is either not going to come out or is going to get negative critic scores. So anything below a 70, or because some of these games are you may be just left with whatever's left, trying to pick the one that's going to lose you the least amount of points. So we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's starting with Eric. Do you have something picked out already, Eric? Or
Eric, you can't pick your own games.
I
what I
can't,
was thinking.
I can't counterpick Silk Song. That doesn't just erase it from the no. Okay. I am torn between two games. I believe. I think I've put it down to two. And I'll throw them out here as I debate. I'm either going to go after Replaced. One, it's a matter of it coming out. Two, everything I see, the stupid poster. I don't know. My gut is telling me to pick Replaced.
Do it.
But I also am looking at Mafia: The Old Country.
Do it.
I think it's a matter of the game coming out, and then also are people really playing Mafia in 2025? Are people excited for that? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Mafia
No,
1
they
and
aren't.
2.
No, you should pick it.
Yeah.
You should.
I could always go Civilization here. I feel like that would definitely.
That was a mistake.
I'd basically just be I'd basically be forfeiting 6 points, like Jay said. But yeah, no, I think I'm gonna go with the safer counter pick in my opinion. Yeah, and that's gonna be Replaced. And Stefan already said he's counter picking Silk Song, so I guess it's a one for one. I hope.
Yep.
That's my counter pick.
All right.
So that brings it to
Andrew.
me. So I need to go look at Eric's list real quick.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not going to make it out of here in a very good way here. So
Yeah, I was gonna say
Me and Dylan aren't gonna have anything to choose from.
unlimited drops. Unfortunately, Eric, you're not going to be allowed to drop any of your
Yeah, I'm in
games.
trouble. Really glad we got 14 games this year, guys.
But which one do I want to pick?
I know, so many options on just one roster.
Death Stranding
This
2,
happened
will
to
it
me
come
last
out?
year.
Will it review well?
This happened to me last year, and Andrew, Andrew, I believe historically does pick my games. Just,
Yeah, weird.
that's also an issue.
I'm letting you know, Eric. There's only one game that's not on your list that I'm willing to counterpick. That's on someone else's. You have 4 on your list. I'm willing to counterpick.
No, I know. I'm in trouble. The good thing though is Andrew's gonna have to bet that the game doesn't come out because the first year I joined, he picked Dead Island 2, which you did get negative points on, but I could understand the pick. And then South Park. I don't believe I've picked a Dead Island 2 or a South Park. I just believe I've probably picked too many games that aren't gonna come out this year. But you are taking a risk, so I don't know.
He's trying to ward you off. Don't listen to the
I'm just again stat padding as much as I can. The information. That's all.
I think it'd be so funny if all 5 of us picked games off his list.
I
The
don't know.
memes.
I don't know.
No, there are 2 that you just absolutely cannot.
Because then I'm stuck having to pick between Elden Ring and Outer
No.
Worlds 2.
I think Elden
I
Ring's
don't
the only one I wouldn't counterpick.
Mine's that one and the Outer Worlds too. I would leave that one alone too.
Yeah,
But
no,
the
I
other
wouldn't.
4, the other
I
You guys
wouldn't
are
be
just
ha-
actively dissecting what counterpicks you're gonna do.
No.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I wouldn't
Go
be.
somewhere else.
Eric, you had a
Please.
I wouldn't be happy counterpicking
crazy
Outer Worlds
draft.
2, but
I
yeah.
want to play this year, please.
No, we're literally deciding who gets which of your
That's
limbs right now.
crazy.
Like right now, I'm kind of torn between Death Stranding 2 and the Pokemon game, both of which did review positively. Like the previous games, they just didn't review super well. I'm not ready to pull the trigger on Hollow Knight. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
There's too much at risk there.
Yeah, exactly.
I love how much that scares you guys. We're all for sure that it's not coming out, but we're all just still scared of it. That's crazy.
I could
Because it's one of those that could, like, we could wake up
we
tomorrow,
can wait tomorrow
and
and
it's
it
out.
go- yeah.
So
I could also just pivot and snag Civilization real quick.
you don't have to. I could still drop it, you know?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
somebody's gonna pick it, and then I'm gonna have 4 counter picks. That's how this is gonna go. I'm already one of you is not gonna hurt me. The other 4 of you are. So just let it happen.
I'm gonna do that, Eric. I'm gonna take Civilization.
Rude.
All right.
I feel like this is targeting.
I'm also just a little bit nervous about Pokemon, that maybe, coming off of the tail end of the last one and all the they took a bit of a reputation hit on it, performing so poorly. It's still sold like crazy, I'm sure, so maybe they don't care. But it's like the last Arceus did pretty well. It's been a minute since we've gotten a Pokemon game, so maybe they're trying to let this one cook a little bit. I'm like, I don't quite want to pull the trigger on that. The conversation around Civ when that got drafted was very definitive that this is probably not going to be great at launch, but will eventually be great with expansions. So it seems like a pretty safe option.
Mistakes have been made by myself. I should have kept that information in my head.
I was gonna say I kind of knew that in the back of my mind, but I don't play Civ that consistently.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've enjoyed all of my Civ experiences, but they have been like when I've picked up the
complete editions.
the complete editions. So yeah,
Yep.
I didn't think about the fact that it would come out in everybody's coming off of Civ 6 and all of its expansions and is now going into the bare bones version of Civ 7.
Yeah, the discourse around Civ 7 has also, now that it's like I was gonna stop talking about it because I realized that I wanted to counterpick it, but now that it's been counterpicked, yeah, the discourse around it has also been super mixed with all the gameplay that has come out so far. Yeah,
Oh no.
at least yeah. Basically, like they are making personally they're saying they're gonna make big changes that fix the things that people didn't like about Civ 6. I think it's just the same. I think it's the same thing with different wording, honestly.
Yeah.
So that we'll see. It's
Mhm.
strange to hate on a game that I think I'm gonna enjoy a lot. But,
That's where I'm at with it. Me and my friend were already ready to play on release, but both of us are also like, it's probably not gonna be that good. It's probably gonna be fun for us, but not fun for most for them.
Yeah.
With my counter pick, I'm up next. The games I'll let you know. The only game that's not on Eric's list I was considering counter picking. Unironically, it's surprising he said I pick it is Kingmakers.
Mhm.
I think the game's going to be really fun. I don't think it's going to review well. That is the dumbest premise ever made of all time. I think I'm gonna have a blast with it. I think I will genuinely enjoy it. But as for a review game, I don't know how far they're willing to go with that.
Phil, we absolutely have to play it. And I
Oh, I
did look
can't
at
wait.
I looked at just a couple of minutes of the gameplay or the trailer or whatever. I won't pick a game that I think I'm gonna enjoy, but it was a thought. It was a thought for sure because of what Stefan's saying.
I've been following that game for like a year and a half. I cannot wait for it to come out.
Yep. That and like the coffee bean one, right? So
The coffee bean.
Yeah, the
I do
beans.
have a different cozy game on my wish list. It is, hold on. It wasn't available to draft. It's called Camper Van. Make it a home.
no.
Also Haunted Paws. That wasn't available. That's when it's like you're two little doggies and you're trying to get out of a haunted house.
No dinosaur game?
No, I bought most of them in 2024, so all the ones that I wanted. And Jay got me one.
Ark Survival
so
doesn't have a release date yet, so
I don't think that game's gonna be good anyway. So
Yeah.
The one with Vin Diesel?
No, Ark 2.
But yeah, so all of them are on Eric's board.
Yep.
Pokemon Legends, because it's the Legend one, Arceus was actually pretty good and fun, and it also did review well, so that's off. Hollow Knight, while I still don't believe it's a real game, and I don't believe it's coming out this year, it's a game of Russian roulette.
Yep.
And the trigger's been pulled enough times. Yeah. The trigger's been pulled enough times that it's coming soon. Eventually, it's got and we're reaching that point where like, if that game does come out, I'm taking -25. Like I that's like an ender. So I'm not willing to risk it. And while I do think Death Stranding 2 is also going to review bad, you said, Eric, you didn't pick a snow day. I don't know if you've ever looked at the reviews for Dynasty Warriors of any of them. Not a single one has over a 70, and the most recent one had a 61. So I wasn't too sure what your thought process was there, because I know for a fact you've never played Dynasty Warriors.
No.
I know you've never even touched that game.
The new one does look pretty cool.
Yeah, the new one looks cool.
Yeah, Dynasty
I was
Warrior
going more
players,
off of that.
Yeah, Dynasty Warrior players love Dynasty Warriors. Majority of everyone else does not. The majority of people do not like it. So that's gonna be my counter pick. I'm pretty set on that one. Yeah. Also that's
Honestly.
what you get for pick and replace. I might have let you go.
Honestly, let's just get it out of the way. Yeah, no, that's fine. If I even have a potential to get you negative points, I'm cool with that. Jay, you want to put a Elden Ring on it? Come on. You can still do it.
Not that way. Absolutely not.
You can do it. The last time you counterpicked me was Liza P.
Holy smokes. Yeah.
Do it again.
We are not eyeballing Liza P DLC. I'm actually not too, because similar. I can't quite bring myself to pull the trigger on Silk Song.
I've just been watching Jay's cat try to escape for the last 15 minutes.
Yep. Yeah. No. He's
so
unhappy.
close.
So, I'm gonna make my pick quick here, and I'm actually gonna go to Phil's list. And I didn't know about this game before he drafted it. But the last game that developer made was We Happy Few. And I tried this game, and I hated it, and it looks like everybody else did too. So South of Midnight is my counter pick.
Yeah, and I mentioned that too. Like, We Happy Few was like, I think, in a lot of people's radars when it came back and when it came out, and it just wasn't like what people wanted. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I hope you're
well-
wrong, but I could definitely see the logic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
for
and
sure.
I think I was talking about this on one of our other episodes, but South of Midnight to me feels very much like a Hellblade or a Hellblade 2, where it's like it's going to come out and the people that vibe with it, it's really going to vibe with.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people are just going to overlook it or not play it or just give it middling reviews. So
Sure.
I hope that's not true because
Yeah.
number one, it's an Xbox first party game, I think. And then number two, it's like based in the South and it looks super cool.
Mhm.
So it's like, yeah,
Yeah, the
that,
swamp.
that would be
is-
fun.
Yeah, the art style. Yeah, I hope it works out. But I definitely get that. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm going Death Stranding too. That game, Death Stranding's stupid. It's a stupid game. It's a stupid premise. And
So you don't understand art, I see.
I don't get it.
We should have
I don't-
Phil on our episode where we talked about it. I feel like I would have appreciated that.
No.
So I'm torn between Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 because
Do it.
the first one didn't get super great reviews. I think all of the ones I felt safe picking off of Eric's list have been picked. Part of me wants to pick Mecha Break just because it's like the multiplayer. Like I feel like reviewers may not review it super highly. But as much as I also, like you, Eric, really want to like Kingmakers and think it'll be a lot of fun to play, I do think it is going to be the one that is the least has the least chance of losing me a bunch of points. So I am going to go with Kingmakers.
And with that,
Alright.
the
Kingmakers was a
draft is
vibe pick.
complete.
That was
Me
a
and
vibe pick
Phil
for me.
representing with the most counter picks tied. That's good.
Good job, guys.
Yes. So
Yeah, but I have good
That-
games on mine.
yes.
I'm
so
not
that
gonna.
is-
I'm not gonna stand for this. You were in last place. You gotta sit with that for
That's
a little
fine.
bit.
No, that's fine. And I sat through that first my inaugural season. I was a new franchise coming into the league. I took my punches. Now with the second pick in the draft, I've gotten some solid selections, and we're gonna build a really great roster.
So far, anytime you've counterpicked, it's gone against you. So I'm hoping that history continues this year.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm hoping to with Kingmakers. Is I counterpick it because I want to love it. So that is our draft. How is everyone feeling about where they ended up? How are you feeling about your rosters? Eric's shaking his head.
No, I mean, again, just recap. I put a lot on the line here. This is either going to be a historic season, or I'm in super trouble. I don't think it's one or the other. But I do feel good about games that are still out there. So that is definitely expect to see some activity here.
I was gonna say I'm
Early
very
on.
excited to see what the bidding tonight looks like this first
Oh, for
weekend
sure.
of bidding.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And anyone else want to talk about their roster and how they're feeling about it?
I'm happy with my roster. I'm actually really happy. I had a lot more games this year that I wanted. Like I said before, I went with games that these are all going to be games that I actually play. And that was a big factor in it. So I feel very happy about it. I will also say my favorite draft outside mine is Jay's, just because we do seem to kind of have that same type. So I may end up playing. I've never really played the Ninja Gaiden games, but the rest of the games on his list, I'll probably end up playing as well. Because I've never heard of Citizen Sleeper, but I just looked it up, and it does look like my type of game, something that I'd enjoy. So I may catch up on the first one before the second one comes out. But no, I feel really good about my draft. I'm very happy. I think the week one I think Replace will probably come out this year. Finally, I think my week one is Fable, just because I don't know how well that one will actually review, but that one was I picked because I couldn't give it up. I had to.
Yeah.
I even think I brought it up last year, but I'm very excited for that one. So
Yeah, and similar to Stefan, my list is comprised mostly of games that I think I'll at least try this year that all seem interesting to me. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with my list. I think that with the exception of Lies of P being a bit of an unknown quantity, I'm pretty confident that the rest of the games on my list will come out. So I'm optimistic about that.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty decent about mine. Minus Civ 7 because I was out of the loop on Civ 7 a little bit. So I was picking based off of what I like about the game a year or two after it comes out. So
Yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty good about mine. I would say, I mean, I'm very excited I got Slay the Spire 2. Grand Theft Auto 6 is just not something I anticipated being on my roster.
Right.
I really thought I would give that a pass. But the DLCs, you know, like one did really well for me in Erdtree last year. But then I also picked up the Alan Wake DLC that was just fine.
Yeah.
You know, so I have Chained Echoes and Sea of Stars DLC. We'll see. Hopefully they're
Yeah.
beefy enough to warrant high scores. That's
Yeah.
my biggest concern, especially with the Sea of Stars one. I'm pretty sure it's free.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
The Slay the Spire 2 pick, once again, like I said, that if Jay was not in here, I think I would have been able to get that at the very end. Like, but I think that is the steal of the draft. If that game does come out, even in the early access, they pretty much have the full foundation. That that might be the not game of the year. We're not having a Balatro here, an Astrobot, but it may be the highest scoring game of the year.
Yeah, no, I think it'll fill the Balatro role. I think it'll be nominated, but I don't think there's any way that it wins Game of the Year, even if it is highly scored. I think the thing that really inspires confidence in me is they released a trailer recently, like within the last month, and at the end of the trailer, they had, you know, still 2025, and then they teased us. They started to flip the 5 as if it was going to be something else, 2026, or, you know, but they flipped it back to 5. So it makes me feel like they're very confident it's going to come out this year.
That's true.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I probably wouldn't have made a pick like a Kingmakers if I didn't feel so good about like the top part of my draft. So like that just gives me a little bit of leeway, and then, but yeah, I feel much better than I did last year for sure.
Yeah,
so, because there are like a possible 390s on my roster. So yeah,
for sure. Cool. All right. Well,
let's land this plane.
Yeah. So if you guys, if you are still listening / watching this episode, thank you so much for checking this out. Thank you for making it through. If you have, consider leaving us a like, subscription, whatever. Wherever you are listening or watching this, you know, do the things on that platform that engage with us, so that we get thrown into the algorithm more. But also, we've had some super cool people on, and it'd be awesome if you would check their stuff out as well. So I'll kick it to Phil and Eric to talk about Wait For It, and where you can find them and all that. And it'll be in the description and stuff too. So
yeah, a lot of stuff coming out here over the next few weeks. We've put out, even if you just want to catch up with everything we did in December, like it was crazy between the end of the year awards, and then we had the 2025 Foresight episode with Jay, who you've heard from the entire episode, and we're going to continue to do What Did I Miss in 2025. So you'll see a combination of all of these people coming back on and spinning the wheel, which is everybody's favorite thing to do when it comes to our show. And just continuing to watch new films, TV shows, also go dipping back into our bag as far as reminiscing when it comes to gaming, right, Eric? We really want to do that a lot more in 2025 for sure, and more conventions. So
Nice.
more convention appearances, and hopefully adding a couple more to our rotation. So if you're in Florida or just in the South, and you're looking for a fun convention to do, definitely keep up with us. We'll tell you where you need to be. But Eric, what else do they need to know?
Yeah, so Phil mentioned a couple big episodes that just happened with the end of year awards, with the foresight and predictions episode. If you like long episodes about a specific topic, the 2024 Letterbox recap we just recently live streamed will be out by the time this releases, and that's a good time if you're into movies and you want a recap of the previous year. And on the gaming side of things, a couple games that we went over here in the last couple months. We played Days Gone for the first time here recently. We reminisced about Saints Row the Third, and we've been having a blast with Marvel Rivals. So we'll be talking about the Arkham games for Batman in January. So check us out if you're interested in any of that or beyond.
For sure. And then one of the other super cool people that's been on, Jay, has a podcast as well. So Jay, tell us a little bit about that.
I do have a podcast, despite reports otherwise. I do still have Super Bracket Bros. We're at a sort of an unofficial hiatus at the moment. We haven't posted since the middle of this year, but I have recently started editing episodes again, which should be releasing at the first part of this year. At this point, you listen to your friendly neighborhood gamers. We talk about fictional characters fighting each other from different universes, and it's a great time. We've had all 3 out of 4 of these folks, or 4 out of 5 of these folks on the show before, so if their names are in the episode titles. So if you want to stick with your friendly neighborhood crew, you can go and find their names, and that's a great place to start. So we're on all the platforms. Come give us a listen. Would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. Awesome. And we will kick it finally to Stefan for his chance to shout something out.
Yep, big shout out. This year I've made it a mission of mine where the past couple of years I haven't been playing as many like single player games, haven't been watching like as many movies and stuff, and this is my year. I'm going to be expanding my my pool of stories. I'm making a mission to finish at least a total of 25 games this year, all like story driven, at least 25 movies, at least 25 shows. So this also helps with that because I get to see games that maybe other people are interested to add to that list. So really excited for it. And also big shout out to the worst show ever made, My Hero Academia. That show is objectively dog shit. Bad show. It is objectively bad. Objectively, this is not an opinion. This is not maybe you just don't like it is bad. The writing is bad. The characters are all stolen from other shows. There's nothing original about the show, and their main character just cries. All he does is cry. It is bad. If you ever think to yourself, hey, I want to watch My Hero Academia, go in the shower, turn the water on, and stare at the wall. You will have more fun, I promise you.
I do want to add on to that My Hero is also becoming one of the worst anime fan bases around, which does not help. So,
Yeah,
and I enjoy My Hero, and I like My Hero Academia, and but yeah, it's.
And then
I
special.
don't know who that was for.
It's
kind
for
of out there.
the hardcore anime audience that listens to the show.
Yeah. And then special final shout out to Jay's cat, who has been trying to escape. This is for the video watchers, not the audio listeners, but his cat has been trying to escape his room for probably about the past 30 minutes.
It's been hilarious.
It's been so bad because I've been watching it and I've been trying not to laugh, but all I see is Andrew in the corner of the
I
screen
can't.
dying laughing. So I know he's looking at the cat.
I can't control it.
I'm like, he's so close. He's almost got that doorknob.
He's like a velociraptor, like figuring it out.
Yeah, no, he did not get out on his own. I did have to get up and help him, but he has gotten out, and it was exchanged for a pug.
Yeah.
Come here.
If it's a pug, you should be able to hear it breathing.
Oh, I know we're struggling. Yeah.
See, there it is.
Shuri has been asleep the whole time, and she just recently wanted to get out, so I can't match dog for dog. But
Yep. So, but yes, thank you all for being here. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you, listeners, watchers, for sticking it out. And look forward to some more updates to come. So I'm sure there will be some bids that are after we get off. And then I'm sure there will be some check-ins, at least one, probably around E3 time. Maybe more, but I'm only committing to one. So, but yeah. All right. If you want to follow the league, it'll be in the description of the episode or on YouTube or whatever, wherever you're getting this. So you can always click that and sort of follow the league as it's progressing. Or if you want to jump in our Discord channel, we have a Discord bot that sort of updates the league with releases and when new games are bid on and stuff like that.
I think it's been updating all throughout this draft too. So
has it?
you may have seen that
nice.
ahead of time.
Yeah. You may have that channel muted already. So.
And I would not blame you.
Yep. So, all right. Well, thank you guys, and remember, stay friendly, gamers.